Welcome back to Always Almost There, a Goose podcast series by Storm Sound and Osiris Media. I'm Neil.
I'm D.
I'm freshly mic'd up Kev.
I'm Brian, a.k.a. Jive Goose.
And I'm Ryan, and the five of us are back here today to talk about the first half of Goose's 2024 summer tour. Yes, you heard that right. For the first time ever, we are doing two separate recording sessions for a tour recap. There are a lot of shows. Last fall we did 2 episodes, but we recorded them all in one go. This time we will be doing it separately because there are 21 shows for us to talk about here, going from Soulshine through Westville, so there's a lot to dig into. Today, we will be covering Soulshine through CMAC, and another episode coming at you very soon will be covering Cleveland through Westville. Now, of course, you don't have to digest this in 2 parts, as we all know. You can digest it in as many parts as you so wish. Listen to it
as many parts
whenever you feel.
You could get 1 7-hour session. You could get 7 1-hour sessions.
Yeah, listen, if you want to save it.
I like that Ryan gave the listeners some kind of background into the recording process.
No problem. Break the fourth wall a little. Can't hurt.
Also, I would offer 70,
even though there's 5 of us.
70 10-minute sessions would also, however you want to listen to it.
I speed up. I speed up the audio.
1.5 times, are you a guy?
No, I fast forward to when I'm talking.
It's like 10 seconds until Ryan's done, and then I listen.
Yeah, there we go. All right.
I don't speed up everyone. I just only skip.
All right. Well, as we mentioned, we've got a lot to talk about today. A lot of shows, a lot of amazing jams, a lot of things to rave about. Because what a tour! Before we dive in, anyone have any just overall thoughts on what happened in June?
Cotter.
Yeah,
I thought that the band chemistry, as it's apparent throughout the shows too. I mean, we had heard 4 shows publicly, 2 more, right? So Soulshine was the 7th show with Cotter, and I think it was apparent just from the get how fast they gelled. Personally, so they haven't played 30 shows. They have not played 30 shows together. I'm still sort of, as I think about it, so that's impressive.
High level thoughts off the top of my head for June. A lot of great jams. I mean, a lot of really good improvisation.
Yep. Picking up where you left off, a lot of great jams that seemed to pick up steam as they went on. I don't know. I feel like there was like some leveling up as this went on. We're going to talk about that a ton. I think there were some amazing festival sets. We're going to talk about that a ton.
Yeah.
But
new effects.
Yeah, improv-wise, I'm more excited about this band than I've been in a little while. So I'm pretty fucking psyched to talk about these jams.
Yeah, man. It's there's so much to talk about, and I think one of the things we've talked about a little, and depending on how you look at it, but from my view, there's not a show on this tour I would have walked out of being like, that was a bad show. There are some that are weaker than others, but there's not a single date out of all of these shows that I would have walked out being like, that is a bad show. And B might call me a fluffer for that, but I think that just speaks to, again, the band is gelling, the band is happy, everybody's just having a great time, Cotter's crushing, and you can feel that coming off the stage every gig. You know, I was lucky enough to be at 13 of the 20 shows in the tour proper, and every night, you could feel the joy radiating off of the band as they were playing. So it was pretty amazing.
It's a hallelujah. Yeah, it's a hallelujah.
There we go.
So it's weird. It's like I had the follow-up question is how could we make June about Ryan? And you just fucking nailed it. That he asked me. For you.
I'm sharing personal experiences. Okay, you did a lot of the shows too, Neil.
Neil, are you reading my private chat comments?
No, we've been doing this long enough where we all have the same thoughts.
Yeah.
Oh, let me say, just to answer your question, Ryan.
Oh, okay. I had a question,
or to comment on your comment.
There we go.
I don't think that any one of us would ever walk out of a Goose show just being severely disappointed.
Okay, all right.
I've been mildly disappointed by an encore choice, and maybe left a little early.
I have left a show on this tour, but not on this recap. We won't cover that. But
no, but we will talk about it on part 2. But I would just like to note that B has seen a Flowdown encore, and that is not the one that he left early. I just want to Just want to point that out. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the tour. D,
Let's do
kick
it.
us off. Soulshine.
All right. So May 26, 2024 still had about 8 days, 10 days until here comes the key. So on May 26, 2024, we had our first night of the summer, not quite tour proper, as the band was still going to get going about a week later. So this was at Soulshine,
Yeah.
a
Soulmate.
music and arts reverie in
Soulmate.
Chillicothe, Illinois, or as most of us in Midwest would call it, scamp, so summer camp. Just get right into it. So set one, we had Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, followed by Feel It Now, Arcadia, Tumble, nice surprising I Would Die for You, and then an SOS closer. And as Kev said, but this was a good little set, especially in hindsight. I sort of had missed it in the moment when I was there, but Hot Love was a wonderful opener. We'll talk about it throughout the summer, of course. Maybe some will have opinions of it, but at this time, as the second appearance of the song was proper. Feel It Now coming out again was good to see. It really set the tone for the song throughout the summer again. And then just like a solid Arcadia Tumble right in the middle. Two very good versions. I thought Tumble really showed itself to be a song that, once again, this was very indicative of some foreshadowing. So hearing some themes and sounds of what the band was trying to get to for the rest of the tour. And then great cover, I Would Die for You, and you can't be mad about an SOS closer. So great thoughts on this first set of sort of everything this summer.
This is one of the things, there are two festival sets that we're going to talk about today, and both of them are excellent. Goose is really, at least this year, they've really gotten the hang of like how to do a proper festival set. And obviously, I think Northlands is a better festival show than Soulshine is, like overall. But this show, I mean, you come out of the gate with Hot Love, as we're going to see, it's going to open a lot of shows. Coming out of the gate, strong, newer song that people already obviously dig a lot.
It's a great opener.
Getting the crowd going, dancing. If you're also caters to kind of the more dancey electronic vibe that you get at Soulshine. It's not an electronic song, but it's that, those dance grooves. And then Arcadia and Tumble, both very solid jams. Neither of them going to make the playlist, but again, dipping your toes in, getting ready for what's going to come later on in set two. I Would Die for You, great cover choice, and SOS crushes.
Pretty cool that Goose opened every show of this whole entire tour with Hot Love and the Lazy Poet. So
Seriously.
really appreciated that. 6 songs.
I like it, man. I like it.
This one,
I'll sing that song every night.
when they played it too on the day after show, I was like, they're going to play the shit out of this song this summer. I called that, and they absolutely did.
And they clearly have fun playing it, right?
Yeah, no, it's
like
awesome.
they like playing it.
Well, and it's got like a couple cool sections that I really like, where it's got like the drum solo section, and then it's got like the guitar solo section. This whole set is just a really awesome festival set. I enjoyed the hell out of this on re-listen. And then, the Arcadia has that. This is actually one of my more favorite Arcadias, even though they're all pretty kind of not exciting. This one has a nice section of that Nebula thing again that they did at the Cap. It was like kind of a continuation of that. And some may not like this kind of Arcadia, but I think I like what the song has become. It doesn't have to be the jam vehicle that it once was, and absolutely crushed. And then I Would Die for You is just killer, absolutely killer.
I think they're trying to change up Arcadia, which is good.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's their view of that song is it's not a jam vehicle anymore. It's just it's like a pep you up song in the middle of a set, and that's it. They're not going to build a set around an Arcadia anymore, like it's a Matavon or something like that.
And you can make an argument that they're having a lot of fun mixing up all the songs, all
Sure.
the arrangements of the songs.
Yeah.
Sorry, B.
What do you got, B?
I mean, look, I just want to say to whoever talked about SOS closing the set. Yeah. And here's the thing. So
Give it to me every time.
3 out of 4 plays on this tour was to close the first set, and the other one was to open the second set. And in fact, if you expand that to, the year, you had the encore at the Cap.
Yeah.
and then if you expand the song itself to Dawn, you had the Dawn core at Fiddlers. So basically, they're only playing in big spots. Yeah, you know what I mean? Which I totally love. I mean, I think that first set closing spot might be my favorite. I really, really like.
I agree.
I think the set 2 opening spot can be good, but now you really got to. Now it might depend a little bit more on kind of what's coming after and the
Sure.
set. But yeah, I think you just can't go wrong closing out a set 1 like this, or any set 1 for that matter. The only thing I want to say is, yeah, I Would Die for You. You know, just love seeing this kind of come back. I kind of feel like they've almost come full circle with all of their covers now, though. I mean, they've basically played every existing cover almost that Goose has played now with Cotter, which I wondered if maybe they were going to reset the cover backlog, but apparently not.
We talked about that in April. Yeah.
Kind of going back and hitting all the covers they've been playing over the last couple of years. So, but this is definitely one that I love seeing back in the rotation.
Yeah, and your point about SOS, I love, and I think, yeah, set closer always. We've been talking about that basically since it was first played as a set closer. Like, yes,
so much energy with the Dawn ending. So much energy
with SOS. Yeah, and your point about it opening the second set, I think, yeah, it largely depends on what the song after is. We saw at the Met last year, how it can kind of fall flat as the second set opener when it goes into So Ready. And then, you're not getting a big jam after that.
Yeah, you can't blame the SOS for the So Ready, though. You know what I mean?
No. But I'm saying the SOS serves really well as a launch pad into what comes next. It's like we're going to boost the energy, and then we're going to get into the jam, which we'll talk about when we get to Northlands. We'll talk about when we get to Northlands about that. But yeah, that's just the point I wanted to make there, Neil. Before we head to set 2.
Last thing before we move on from the set, I Would Die for You, Digital Sauce. So I'm going to say it first.
This is the
It's
first.
going to be said a million times throughout this episode, but this is our introduction to that on this tour. If you don't know what the Digital Sauce is, go listen to this I Would Die for You. Listen to Rick's guitar tone. Every time he plays with this pedal, whatever it's called, Ryan? What's the pedal called?
I don't know what actually.
We don't
pedal
know,
it is.
don't we?
It's
still?
Digital Sauce.
It's the Digital Sauce.
We made up that name back in June, like after this or this May these shows.
Yeah, I think it was the Soundcheck Jam, actually, which is like
it was
the thing that I wanted to talk about here.
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll get there
after.
We'll get there. I'll get there. I promise.
Felt like the sauce.
I just want to say, if you listen to this on Nugs, this is your set break music, is the Soundcheck Jam. But in any case, all right, fine. We will talk about set 2.
Well,
we will.
Yeah,
we
D, let's talk about set 2.
Let's do it. So set 2, another very strong set. We had a opening Into the Mist, which kept its way off the cap. Great performance into our fan favorite, Kylie Minogue's Can't Get You Out of My Head.
Who is B mentioned to us. I don't know if everybody was familiar with this, but she is not a mom. She has no kids.
She's avoided. She has avoided motherhood.
Yeah, Australian. So Can't Get You Out of My Head. And then we had Arrow, Everything Must Go, and a quick hot
5-minute
clopener. Yeah, clopener.
Might as well.
So
wait, a what?
A clopener, I said. I meant a cloncore. I guess an encore.
He's having a stroke.
I know. We kind of coined the phrase "encore that shit." Maybe it's like, don't play that shit. No time. There's no time.
Pardon me there. I did have a little quick
just
little
play 5 more
aneurysm
minutes
there.
of Everything Must Go.
Into the the Mist, Can't Get You Out of My Head combo. This was, I think we've agreed, but for myself, probably my favorite pairing of the two. Best version, great Mist. You still get sort of some good, of the down tempo action out of the jam, and then they find the segue, and very, very unique version of Can't Get You Out of My Head. Worth a listen. Arrow, you have a pretty solid standard, in a lot of ways, but it's good to say that now arrows that are standard are actually very solid.
There's
again,
a new
which is nice.
standard.
I don't know. I think that was a 2023 standard arrow.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Since last year, yes, I saw quite a few solid arrows that were just long and standard, but great. And I think it's cool to hear the song, and Rick's using that digital sauce again. We saw it there. And then just a very, very, very well executed Everything Must Go. My favorite still probably of the year. I mean, Cap version's great. A lot of people like that one, and I do too. This first episode, we have one more, and then a couple sort of that they shifted on in the second episode here. And then you get your hot tea. They had to do it, you know. We got one more for you, as Peter will say.
So, yeah, the last like 3 minutes or so of this Kylie is good. I don't know. I would take
Breaking
extended
news:
missed-
Jive Goose likes.
I would
Kylie.
take an extended missed outro completion. You know,
Finish.
Well, any day of the week, but we didn't finish missed enough this tour, as we saw. So
Right.
this
At
was
all.
pretty
At
solid
all.
for unfinished. I know.
but yeah, this Everything Must Go is really, really good, and
Yeah.
I know Neil has a lot of thoughts on this and some notes. So I'm not going to say too much other than this is actually still in my top 10 for the year. It's hanging out at number 10, but that says a
Yep.
lot. You know, there's a lot of lengthier jams. There's a lot of really interesting jams this year. It's been a strong year. And so, yeah, for this little up and coming new festival called Soulshine, for Goose to play at, you know, but then to drop a jam like this, yeah, I mean that's awesome. I mean,
What a
this is
festival set. I
this
think
is
we
a
were floored.
great jam. This
Soulmates.
is the only thing I go back to from this show, and I've gone back to it a lot. Really, really great jam.
Yeah.
You know, the funny thing is, we like to complain about festival sets on this podcast, and they're just shattering our notion that festival sets are bad.
Yeah.
And this EMG is awesome. And so this is kind of the first time I'm going to bring this up. And I really do strongly believe this. And in the last couple of days, I've been thinking about it more and more. This Everything Must Go jam has this. They sound like explosions in the sky to me. And if you've never listened to Explosions in the Sky, listen to the intro song to Friday Night Lights. If you've ever watched that show, that is that band. They also have a catalog of music that is amazing. And I think Goose is really truly leaning into this indie groove thing with Cotter, because I think he actually has that indie rock element. Specifically, what I'm talking about with this jam, and he does it throughout several jams on the 11 shows that we're going to talk about today, is he gets like kind of a snare roll going, and then Rick is doing kind of this like reverb / echo heavy guitar work, and it sounds a lot like that. And then it builds to this really joyful ending every time. It's almost like a snowball rolling down the hill and just getting more and more joyful as it goes. And that's what this jam is. And like, yes, this isn't like my top 10. I think it's like 6. And I actually put this alongside the Into the Mist from the Cap, and I put it alongside the Tumble that we're not going to talk about until the next episode from the Man. But they all kind of have a similar arc to them that have this incredibly uplifting, joyful aspect. Sure. And I think it is the drumming from Cotter, specifically his snare work, that makes that happen. And I don't know how exactly that works, but it works.
Peter's support too.
I 100% agree. And one of the interesting things about this Everything Must Go too is a lot of times it's easy for a show like this or a jam like this to get lost in the greater tour because it's a one-off festival appearance just over a week until tour proper starts. It wasn't streamed. You know, it was like tour starts in St. Louis, and here they are playing in Illinois a week before, kind of out of the way. But this jam has endured, and I mean, I haven't seen a ton of chatter online about it in the rest of the community. So I hope that, and I haven't actually spent a lot of time digging into other people's lists that have been shared recently, but I'm hoping that it's not going to end up being as underrated as I think it might be. You know, I urge people, if you haven't listened to this jam in a little while, give it another spin, because Neil, you explained it perfectly. I have nothing to add on breaking down the jam, but I just urge you to listen to it. Don't discount it because it's a festival set a week before tour proper kicks off.
It should be top 10 to 15 by the time the year's out, like minimum. And I'm saying minimum.
Well,
minimum.
we got a lot of shows left, you know. But
minimum.
And on this
Neil's
Kylie,
got it at 6.
and,
So if he has it 9.
And before I move on this Kylie, this is where we start to see this OB6 come through. The last few minutes of the synthy wind down. You know, the jam chart says It's your typical festival missed Kylie until it's not. In the last few minutes, B, you mentioned this, like really, really cool jamming. So I urge everyone to check this out. It's not a playlist jam, but well worth a listen. And it's something that I wish they'd explore a little bit more. That kind of ambient outro kind of deal. B?
Real quick. I'm
Oh,
glad you
cool.
humbly shouted out the guy who wrote that jam chart, Ryan Storm, because you're the one who
You
wrote
can
that
talk
jam chart.
when you write more than one jam chart for the whole tour.
It was butter rum too, wasn't it?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Oh yeah, we're getting there.
So also don't discount the Chillicothe soundcheck jam.
Oh yeah.
That's that's on my list as well.
Well,
right,
that's not
well, it's
eligible for
not
the
part-
bracket, but
Yeah, as we have a gatekeeper here, but so I didn't I failed to mention to open before the show, as we came into the day for Sunday, the band had been set for sound check at about 12 o'clock. We showed up and we got 30 minutes, had a little jam, the Chillicothe sound check jam, and then followed it by more or less segued, I guess, into Rockdale with the dragonfly all over it, the sauce throughout it. So it was a fun 30 minutes to sort of set the tone. Not eligible though, as some would say. So Chateau Jam and
drenched in dragonfly and digital sauce. Really good stuff. Really promising.
Bro,
That's all I got to say on
Bro,
it.
I make my
that out,
own
though.
playlist. I say what goes on it.
I have said this before, and I will say it one last time before we move on from this show. Just because it's not in the Jam of the Year bracket doesn't mean it's a jam that has to be removed from your playlist. You can put it on your
A
playlist.
lot of good stuff.
Good
So
jam.
I mean, I make my playlist with the intent of it being to seed the bracket at the end of the
Well,
year.
and Ryan, you got
Everyone
like
can do it
fucking
differently.
you got like 67 tracks on your playlist,
I got
don't you?
40. Okay,
Oh, okay.
relax.
67.
Yeah. So he's
Got
going to have a
Chateau
160
Jam,
track playlist
Chateau
by the time.
Born.
I cut it off at
Rockdale.
64.
So if you're listening to the podcast, just know that we want you to make a playlist of the jams that you like.
Yeah.
When it comes time for the Jam of the Year bracket,
Chateau has some great jams. Put them on your list. It's okay.
Let Ryan deal with that at the end of the year. Like that's
Yeah,
not.
he's gonna
our
do what he's
problem.
gonna
It's
do.
Ryan's problem. Yeah.
yes. So I just wanted to say that. I wanted to say it publicly because I think sometimes it gets obscured because some people use the podcast account to throw these opinions out there on social media. And I'm just saying, if you
Excuse
like
you.
Chateau Jam, I'm not holding that against you.
No,
And
I
I
love
would just
Chateau
like
Jam.
to, and just let me finish up by saying that when Chateau Jam was mentioned on people's playlists, Ryan, we know that you're not watching on video, but Ryan's face expressed an oi. So
I express an oi quite often.
Yeah.
Well, let's move on to tour proper here. Let's kick things off here in St. Louis, June 4th at the Factory, attended by none other than John Fishman. Big deal. And at this point in the tour, we're very early on. Obviously, there's still lots of songs that we're hearing with Cotter for the first time, especially the opener, All I Need. This was his first version. I do the first set. All I Need, Time to Flee. All I Need, Time to Flee. Mr. Action, Born. This is a hell of a first set, a hell of a way to, set the tone for the tour coming up. One of the things that I noticed immediately about All I Need was Cotter's playing, he has more of a shuffle to it than Ben played it with. One of the things you talked about, Neil, with the Soulshine set is Cotter's snare rolls. And that's one of the biggest things about his style of drumming that's very different. He's very loose. He's moving
that
around
swing.
the drum a
Yeah,
little
that
more.
sounds-
yeah,
Not
it's
just
not
a
as
tight
it's
hit.
not as driving as Ben's, but it can be at times. But
Sure.
it's not like that all the time.
Exactly. And this is a really cool jam. I think really, really great. I love their idea of kind of doing this sandwich or weaving in and out of All I Need and Time to Flee to open
Perfect.
the tour, to open the
They nailed
show.
it. Yeah.
Love that last few minutes of this All I Need with Peter on guitar. Really great stuff. And then, nice explosive Flee back into the ending of All I Need and then the ending of Time to Flee. Really cool stuff. And I just remember being on the couch at the time and being like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. This is like, we're here. Tours happening. And then Mr. Action, again, Cotter's first, you hear him lead off, and then Born to close the set. After that opening, and we were talking about in advance of the show, like they'll probably ease in a little bit. We might not get anything too huge out of the gate, but no, 30-minute
30-minute jams. Yeah. 30-minute pairing, 30-minute jam.
Yeah. 30-minute Born right here. Yeah. This isn't in my top 10, but this jam is really, really awesome. You have now the 2001 quote unquote electric piano vintage vibe funk jam to lead off. And then it kind of morphs into this really like exploratory, like Trevor's leading, Peter's doing some cool stuff on the clav. And my favorite part of this jam is actually the subtle shift that Rick leads into that like blues rock peak at the end. It just kind of goes from this like kind of darker funk zone up into this blues rock thing and just exuberant peak to close the set. I absolutely love that. Born is back. You know, we saw at the Cap, they didn't jam it. They did the Driptych, but Born is back here. We've had some really great versions of this tour, and I look forward to seeing what they do it later on in the year. B.
Yeah, I'm just going to get in and out on this one. So this Born is really good. It's long, and you gotta weave in and out of some stuff, and you know, you gotta survive some ups and downs. But for me, it's the last 4 or 5 minutes. I mean, it's just an it's just an absolute just bopping jam. You know, I mean, it's so good, and it's those last 4 or 5 minutes that has this where it's at in my list, which I don't know where that is exactly, but it's like maybe 15 or 20. You know, I mean, it's still up there. I think it's you get 25 minutes in and you're thinking it's in danger of going too long. But man, that last 4 or 5 minutes is so good.
Just to underscore what you said, that is Rick doing what Rick does best. He found a lick in there, and he does this actually a lot on this tour. What immediately comes to mind is the Skyla Echo of a Rose. He does this very, very similar thing where he finds a riff, and then it's one of those riffs where you like hear it and you're like, that has to be a song, right? Like he didn't just come up with that on the spot. But no, most certainly he did come up with that just on the spot, and he's so damn good at it. It's ridiculous. And then the other thing I wanted to say about this set is the way this opened, the way this tour opens, really kind of gave me hope, where I was like, oh man, they're going to start like weaving songs together. And, you know, you get an All I Need, All I Flee fest, whatever you want to call this. It's like in and out, in and out, in and out. And that was really neat. And I really enjoyed the hell out of that. The segue from the first All I Need into Time to Flee is insanely good.
Perfect.
So insanely good. So if you're a segue person, go back and listen to that All I Need into Time to Flee. Because the jazzy chord thing they do, like right before they do the segue, like it's so well set up. It's just absolutely killer. And then, you know, just Peter being on guitar for the end of that All I Need, going into the Time to Flee, it's just, that's the good stuff right there. 2-guitar Goose and a segue. So good.
Yeah, I think it was, I mean, we saw a little bit of it at Soulshine and like even the Cap, but I think throughout 2 of these 4 shows between St. Louis and Denver to follow, really highlighted for me, because I caught all 5 of those first ones, that Peter was willing to grab the guitar a lot more. I think he had kind of shifted to keys a lot more in 2023. So sort of, I mean, we saw what the Philly show was only the strum during the echo, you know, back in March, like some shows where he would literally touch guitar a song or two. So it was really fun to see that he was willing to pick up the guitar right away. Obviously Flea has that aspect, and I remember standing there after this first 30 minutes, especially when they went back into Flea to finish, and I was just kind of like, what the fuck is happening? Like, you know, like I the end to Need was fun, and then the fact that they just were like, oh, we're gonna finish this too, I sort of lost that a little bit. I mean, and then connecting the Big Born with Mr. Action, which would usually be the traditional opening song. So right there, they were willing to open the show with this huge sort of 30-minute segment, play kind of an opener, and then nail another 30-minute jam. And I agree, sort of with you too, the finish is really strong. I feel like they were kind of just plotting and exploring. This was sort of their first example of just like, all right, let's just take a jam and just go for it and just sort of see where we end up. They found somewhere fun. So really, really good set to open the tour. I was like, this is going to be fun. So I think it set the tone.
I just really want to say about the Need Flee, that, you know, so many of us were some concerns, like continuing concerns about, you know, how the band was going to gel and vibe together and continue to play together. And to have that not only put to rest, but have them add an extra layer of, we've seen it all tour, of them continuing to tinker with the arrangement of their songs. I think just screams to the upside of this band. Not just in what we saw this tour, this brief tour here, but what we have to look forward to.
Moving on to set 2 here, we've got Yeti, Slow Ready, Mascanada, White Lights, Your Ocean, The Empress with a Please Forgive Me encore. I will say overall, not my favorite set, just as somebody who's looking for some more improv. This Empress.
Last quarter is good.
No, I was going to say, this Your Ocean Empress, that's an incredible fourth quarter to me. Yeti, Slow Ready, Mascanada, White Lights, that's more of a first set
Good Yeti, though.
kind of vibe.
Good
Yeti is amazing this year so far. No complaints about Yeti this year. It's a funk dance party. This is like so good. Here comes Jive Goose, ready to refute that. But I'm going to keep talking
I thought this
and
was
let
a
him.
good Yeti.
Wait a minute. Slow Ready Mascanada, good segue. Mascanada is always fun.
Mascanada was better than normal.
White Lights. So this is a vibe set, right? Like this is one of the things we were talking about on the
Absolutely
St.
loving
Louis
it.
Day After show with our lovely interns Josh and Haps. This is a vibe set right here until the Empress, when you think it's okay, they're going to do like an Empress, it's going to be fun, it's going to be great. And then Empress has been so good this year so far. Here comes Jive Goose again, giving his patented, "Are you sure about that?" look. I'm going to fluff this Empress because this is probably one of my most this is definitely one of my most listened to jams from this tour.
Same.
It's just the way they slide into that like late night disco digital sauce groove is so good. I love what they're doing with Empress these days. They've kind of got this formula down pat, shorter Peter solo, shorter Rick solo, and they get into this jam section. We've got the digital sauce here. We've got some darker stuff later on in the tour. But I think we're going to see some bigger Empresses again once they come back in September. But this one is absolutely phenomenal. If you haven't listened to this in a while, you're going to be dancing. Please forgive me, not what I would have wanted in the encore slot, personally. There are those out there who like it.
We had night 2,
We had night 2. B?
Okay, yeah, let me shine some positivity on this set. So, first of all, some might just say, Mascanada is fun. Others might say, this Mascanada is fucking hot. And it's
Fucking hot. Thank you.
It's really, really good. I mean, I don't know. I'd have to go back and listen to every Mascanada, but which is a cover that I really, really like. I really like this cover. But yeah, normally it is what it is. It's always got a pretty. Rick likes this cover a lot, and he always.
Hell yeah,
I think he always
Yep.
kind of attacks it. But this one definitely goes above and beyond for sure. And in fact, there's 2 highlights to this set for me, and Mascanada is one of those 2. The other one is obviously the Empress. And yeah, it's a top 20 jam for sure. I think for me personally, for this Empress, when I first heard it, when I first kind of went back to it and was giving it some re-listens after the show, I think what really did it for me initially was like Rick's guitar effects and the sound of those effects. And then I think afterwards I was like, okay, if I'm going to separate just because I can't just say, this jam's amazing because it's this new effect. But for me, that maybe that's where I started to question, kind of where maybe I had this. But I think the playing it's really good. But I don't think this is like a super high ranking jam for me. But that said, it sounds amazing, and I really love the digital sauce. I hate to even call it that.
Why?
Do it. Commit.
Once we know what it is, we'll get it.
Yeah,
It's the sauce
to me
forever.
it's the guitar OB6. I think it's probably some kind of patch. I don't know all the terms.
So are you calling the OB6
I don't know all the
digital
words.
sauce?
Metal,
The key
and then
digital sauce.
transmits the sauce. I don't know.
Well, coming
I-
off the back of Peter's OB6 too.
I got a vasectomy that prevents me from transmitting the sauce.
Okay, so back to the
all right,
music.
deal.
How about that? Damn.
First-
I mean, what
first
did they even play in
highlight.
this set? I don't remember anymore. Oh, yeah. Mascanada always crushes. I agree, Jive. I don't know what it is about this song, but it seems to bring the best out of Rick. Maybe it's like only the Portuguese-speaking people in the audience know that he's fucking up the lyrics. I don't know. But he plays the guitar really, really well every single time they play the song. I always love it. My favorite version, I think, is from Europe. Ryan will tell me what day they played that on. I don't recall.
Cologne.
Yeah, Cologne. That one killed. Absolutely killed. This one,
I believe
pretty
it's
Great,
Cologne.
great city,
Yeah,
by the
it's
way.
cool. Oh,
yeah,
thank you.
that too.
Yeah.
Great city.
Not
Great
that you were there.
Big fan of the city. And then, this one last thing to add about this Empress is that there's like a little taste of Mind Left Body at the end of this, which is pretty neat. But yes, top 20 jam. I have it actually extraordinarily high right now at like 13 or something like that. I don't know if it's going to stay there, but I do love this jam. And if you listen to this podcast, you know I am not a fan of Empresses for jams, but this one I actually really like.
Yeah, there we go.
Kev?
Anything to add before we head to night 2?
I have a little, so yeah, no, I thought the one thing with the Empress, not about the rest of the song, but I thought what we saw was a really strong pattern of, and B mentioned it with Rick's basically guitar-led OB6, is we saw
The
this
sauce.
this theme of Peter took off. You had Trevor, obviously, with his bass solo, but then it's even like Tumble or other songs. We have Trevor, Peter with his OB6, Rick into that sort of digital sauce, and then Peter with either the marimba or the piano kind of just led driving. Now, one might find, right, the band kept going back to this pattern, this recipe, whatever you want to call it. I will listen to these types of jams right now for a very long time. I think it's very successful style for them. Sort of Peter's new sounds and Rick's tone. Top notch. So that's all I got.
And I just want to point out that I can't believe it's taken this long for us to have mentioned Trevor.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, his tour was very good. I think it only got better.
Next show, we will.
Nope, but it gets better this tour. Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about the next show, Neil.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm happy to talk about the
Poor
next show.
David Gray, man. Poor David Gray. Just Chattanooga getting shafted.
I can't believe that some people thought there was a hidden message in that encore, which I think that's sad. We live in sad times, indeed.
You're saying that we thought it was Please Forgive Me, the show? I mean, I had fun to open the night.
No. I love that song, by the way. Before we move on,
I do too.
I have to say that. I absolutely love that song. So if
I
you
have
don't
that
like
on
that
vinyl.
song,
Yeah, I have that on vinyl.
I feel bad for you. I don't know.
Feel
Okay,
bad for
so
me? That's nice.
second night in St. Louis at the factory. This is June 5th. Set 1 opens with Atlas Dogs Turbulence. So you get the classic Goose 1-2 punch. If you thought there was a new Goose coming in 2024, yeah, I mean you're getting the double opener just like that, a 2-pack.
Dopener.
And then you get an Earthling or Alien, and then out of nowhere, super deep cut. It Burns Within.
It burns.
It's
Thanks,
like
Kev.
a drive time radio show right now, Kev. Like after everyone, like I just wish you had like an air horn or some shit.
1 minute he's talking about the vasectomy, and then he's yelling Burns.
Kev's like the hype man for everybody right now.
Everything okay there, Kev?
Those two things are unrelated, okay?
Vasectomies and it burns.
And then finishing off the set, you get Tumble. So this is the first one of the bigger tumbles that have, been a talking point for some people. Folks are really stoked on Tumble on this tour. Really interested in all of your
Much
opinions.
better.
On
This
Tumbles
is a
on
great year.
Yeah, I enjoyed the song. I've historically enjoyed the song. I don't know if I enjoyed as much as some folks on this tour, but then finishing off the set, you get a Rockdale. Ryan, take us into that first set.
Yeah, this is before the Rockdale Renaissance that kind of starts to happen 6 days from this show.
Yes.
This is funny because, we saw the first set of the tour in St. Louis, with the Big All I Need, Segways, 30-minute Born. It's like, is this the new norm for first sets? And then they come out night 2. They're like, don't worry. We're still playing Goose first sets. And they do Atlas Dogs, Turbulence, Earthling, to open with Tumble Rockdale as well. Like it Burns Within kind of the only, surprise first set
And it was
song.
within that whole sort of section too.
Yeah.
It burns within
This is a really good tumble. And yeah, the tumbles this year are hitting very similar themes. They're getting funk, bliss, strong return. Some are better than others. I think this one's really good. I don't know where it's going to end up, obviously, by year's end. Kind of lower middle of the pack of my playlist right now. But I listened to it for the first time in a while the other day, and I kind of forgot how good it was. So I think it's a very good jam.
Tumbles aren't boring anymore.
No, they're not that they were, but Jive Goose, noted tumble skeptic, clearly has some thoughts here. Jive Goose, noted tumble skeptic. What do you have to say about this tumble?
I mean, I think that this to your point, this tumble follows the theme, the pattern. We're going to get to some worthy tumbles to talk about. I think this one it's fine. It's good. When you're there, it's blazing. You know, I mean, it's fire. This is a pretty, but to your point also, back to the first SETI. This is a first set for sure. Kind of an abbreviated rocktail, I believe. I'm not looking at the timings, but I want to pretty quick, right?
It was barely 13 minutes. It was very short. Yeah, very short. Shout out to the birthday crew. Peter shouts out a solid birthday crew. He doesn't mention a name, just says happy birthday.
13 minutes. On
the
those.
Birthday call outs or rocktail. He likes
the birthday call outs.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he's a grateful person, and he expresses that.
Calling out birthdays, except for a few. So I mean,
well, he has good judgment as well.
I think this rocktail was probably barely 12 minutes when you call out the birthday shout.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the Redbird, so we can move on.
So I got this. I got the second set here.
Yeah, he's got it.
Okay, so this I'm excited to talk about because I've got a few thoughts. I have two songs in my playlist in this set, and call me crazy, but I'll explain why. So you have a Thatch.
Is it Delta Never Knows?
Crazy motherfucker.
And it is not Delta Never Knows. But thank you for bringing that up because I was.
Welcome to tomorrow.
Welcome to tomorrow.
Yeah. So this Thatch is spectacular. If you like Dark Goose, like I do, I really like Dark Goose. So it's abbreviated Thatch, but the sections of it that they do play, and this is a precursor to some other darker jams that they play later on this tour, where I am impressed by this band's ability to sound like they are not playing it all together, and then one moment later, they are perfectly in sync. This is the first example of that on this tour, in my opinion. So absolutely killer Thatch jam, really short, on my playlist at the very end, because it would break my heart to take it off. It certainly won't be there at the end of the year, but I'm leaving it on there for now, so folks get to listen to it. If they want to listen to my playlist, it's out there on Twitter. Then you get a Creatures abbreviated, 14-minute Creatures, which is exactly the Creatures we need right now, especially in this set. And then you get a Redbird that, for me, has an absolutely beautiful Bliss jam in it that is memorable or notable only because I think it's the precursor to the Bliss jam that you hear later on down the road in the Raleigh.
Which one? Oh, okay.
And then you hear it again later on down the road in the Wisteria from Portland. So is it as fleshed out as those other two? No. But it is listen to all three in succession. There's a thread. So they kept building on that theme. I think they actually really fully realized that in the Portland Wisteria. So really, really cool Redbird. And then you get Welcome to Delta Tomorrow Never Knows, which some folks are stoked on this one, and man, I can't figure out why. I think it's cool.
Like fun.
What? Fun? No.
People like fun. I know.
Some people like songs and fun, Neil.
You and I, Neil, you and I do not like fun.
I tend to like fun. It's just
you like a different
Welcome
kind
to
of
Delta is a thing that comes in Indian River, and then they did it in a Beatles song that I'm really stoked for them to play, which could be exceptionally weird and spacey, and they were right in that moment. They could have done all these things with it, and they were like, fuck it, let's play Delta. And I don't know, that one bummed me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And then wait, hold on, let me finish the set here. And then
go ahead.
Encore would Don't Do It. Go ahead, Ryan.
I can't believe you didn't say Let Cotter Sing, but Let Cotter sing.
Well, no, that's coming later, but really, let him sing a fucking verse in a band song. Come on.
Give him my biggest mistake was loving you too much verse, at least. Crowd will go nuts. Rick, you can still have the first verse and the whatever, but let Cotter sing. I don't have anything else to add to the Thatch really, other than that's the tension building and kind of that it feels like they're moving in a circle and kind of like a vortex. And that's Cotter. That is all due to Cotter. The rest of the band is playing very similarly to how they would have built tension last year, but the drumming being more fluid enables them to reach a space like this, which is so, so cool. And
I think the Redbird gets it too.
Well, and I'll leave the Redbird tomorrow, never knows. But Creatures, I saw someone online the other day being like, what happened to Creatures? Like it's, so much worse this year. And I disagree. I think these
Connector
shorter
jam.
Creatures that we've been getting this
Perfect.
year are perfect.
Perfect.
They've been
Perfect.
largely like kind of early second set, giving us that like energy boost and then kind of fading before it overstays its welcome. We talked a lot last year about like we had a lot of like 18 to 20 minute
minute.
Creatures.
Yep.
That just didn't really do much and just kind of took up space in the sets. And so I really like this because Creatures is an amazing song that I want to hear at a show, but I love when it's a shorter jam that then is a launch pad for here's this Redbird that's going to go to a very interesting place improvisationally. So I encourage Goose, like, please keep utilizing Creatures like this. This is the best slot for it, unless it's going to, break free of Creatures relatively quickly, which I think is something that they haven't quite figured out how to do yet. But I look forward to when they do.
So I wanted to just talk about the Redbird, but your comments on Creatures, I totally agree with. And look, I mean, we don't make the rules with any of this stuff. I think most people don't care what we think about it anyway. But but if I did make the rules,
True.
I would say, yeah, play a 10-minute Creatures. It's totally okay. You know what I mean? It's funny that like they'll play a 5-minute Hot Tea. You know what I mean? But they won't play a 10-minute Creatures or a 10-minute Arrow without like, if you go Arrow Seeger, then that's a short Arrow. But you know what I mean? It's like these are good songs. You know what I mean? I think the jams take some heat from people like us sometimes. You know what I mean? But these are, to your point, it's a good song that you love to hear at the show. And I think where the criticism comes in, whether it's fair or not, is that I want every moment of every show I'm at to be exactly what I want to hear, right? In some form or another. And so, yeah, that would be my message, is that I think a 10-minute Creatures would be, I'd be like, okay, sweet. Yeah, what are you playing? What's next? You know what I mean? But the Redbird is the real star of the show, the set and the show. And Cap Redbird is still super high on my list. This one isn't as high. This one's probably around 20 for me. But this is a really good Redbird. And I love that it does something similar to the Cap Redbird, in that as it's winding down into the end, Trevor starts doing some really cool, unique kind of creative stuff that you don't normally hear. And this one, whether or not they planned to take this into Tomorrow Never Knows, we'll never knows. But I love how they wound this down. And again, some of the stuff that Trevor does at the end. But it's also a good jam leading up to that point. You know what I mean? It's no slouch there as well. So yeah, for me, this show's all about the Redbird. I think it's really, really good.
We'll never knows.
Yep, agreed. I thought it was just a great set. Reads well on paper, worth listens. The Tomorrow Never Knows out of the Redbirds, really well done. They just kind of really flow the set well. It's a very well, like, sort of just like the whole thing wraps together very well, which I thought they did quite a few times throughout the tour. Nothing much more to add.
There we go.
Yeah, and then
Well,
they kind of move on to do like this subpar run in a town they never hit.
Well, buckle up, folks, because
yeah.
we're heading to the land of attendance bias with the king of attendance bias.
What?
The undisputed king of attendance bias.
It's not
Mr.
Colorado's
Jive.
fault. It's not Colorado's fault that Goose always plays smoking shows here. All right?
No, but it is B's fault that he.
It's not
has
my
really
fault
bad
Neil hates these
attendance
shows.
bias. Well, we're about to sit back, folks. If you don't like hearing Jive Goose soliloquies, skip the next 7 minutes.
Yeah,
because
that's
7
just
minutes.
That's just my show vibe report.
Correct. So we're gonna turn it over to Jive Goose here and let him talk about how great it was because he was there.
So before Jive launches in, I want to say two things. I'll be back in about a half an hour.
Yep, this is your only
and then-
opportunity to talk, Neil.
The other thing I want to say is that I think that Ryan is, before he launches into his opinions about this show or these two shows, even though he was at these shows, I think he is trying to balance out the Colorado bias. These are two spectacular shows.
There's no such thing as Colorado bias.
That's what
yeah.
people who live in Colorado say.
So
I don't live there.
Jive, I'm sorry. Like the floor is yours,
No,
man.
no, it's cool.
I'll be back.
Look, I said we should do a separate episode for Fiddlers. You guys,
Well, we
I did come to those.
and you were there.
So hey, yeah. Let me start with the set list. Night 1, Fiddler's Green, Greenwood Village, Colorado. Great city, by the way. If you normally don't get down that far. Set 1, Hot Love Opener, The Whales, No California, first time played by Goose. Jive 1, Jive Lee, Seekers Parts 1 and 2, and Animal. So, look, I'll be the first one to tell you that on paper, if you'd have said, hey, here's what they're going to play tonight, I might have said, okay, well, maybe we show up a little bit later. You know?
I was going to say, yeah, Jive Goose is showing up at set break after that.
You're going to get an animal. You're going to get a Seeker's Animal closer first set.
Is there anything going at the
So
Gothic?
listen, No California. I think we were all surprised to get it. I loved when Arebelo did it. I thought it was kind of a banger. You know what I mean? It's just a really good song. So yeah, was really psyched to see that, and I think it fits well. You know, and it was nice to see kind of a new cover. This is where I was feeling like, okay, cool, yeah, we're getting some new covers, so that's great. But listen, this set's all about the Jive Lee. And all I'm really going to say is two things. Trevor just owns this, and this is definitely one of the shows. And you heard it at the venue, and you hear it on the tapes. I mean, Trevor is he's loud, he's in charge, everything is great that's coming from the bass, and this Jive Lee is certainly kind of the high point of that. And there's a section, and it's extensive. I'd say from like the 5 or 6 minute mark till the 10 or 11 minute mark. This is an incredible jam. And this is where these guys are going to talk all this shit about, you know, this bias and that bias. But I just want to make sure that people listen to this jam, because that section especially, this is really, really good stuff. This is a great Jive Lee. I don't know. Is it the GOAT? I don't know. I've got to go back and listen to some other years. Is it better than Northlands? Absolutely. Yeah, no, that's the thing, right? No. I think it clearly. So, but yeah, then the rest of the set, Seekers, you get the big moment with the Colorado lyric. Fiddlers went absolutely no.
No one can sing it now, unfortunately.
But
Colorado.
I wouldn't know. I was busy running into Kev.
Oh yeah,
man. I saw Colorado bringing it in, and I met Ryan at the bathroom.
I mean, yeah, Ryan goes to the bathroom during Surprise Valley at Red Rocks, and then you get the Animal, you know, to close the set. So yeah, this is all about two things: the No California, great cover, bringing back, great with the full band, and then this Jive Lee, and it's really really good. This was an incredible jam. So. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah. I mean, No California might be my most listened to track from this entire entire tour. I mean, every time I look at it, I'm like, yeah, I should listen to that again. Like if I go to this show with the intention of listening to the Jive Lee or the Wisteria or the Dripfield, and I see No California, I'm like, yeah, I'll do that first. You know, like it's just, I just throw it on because it's
roll the
so
windows
good.
down.
And I'm a little bit sad that they. Yeah, exactly. I'm a little sad that they didn't play it again for the entire rest of the tour because it's such a good cover, but I have no doubt that it's going to pop up again in the fall. But yeah, as you said, B, this set is about two things. It's about the No California and the Jive Lee. And this Jive Lee in the moment was crazy because Jive Lee up until this point had never hit 20 minutes. And Jive Lee is a song that has no composed section. Like it has a riff and then it's, okay, here's the jam 5 seconds in. And that's what we're doing. You know, we've had some exploratory versions in the past.
Is this the one that they actually came back and finished?
They came back and finished Northlands as well.
Yeah,
but there were a couple in 2022, Asheville and Art Park. That's 4/29/22 and 6/8/22 that are both excellent versions. But those were kind of went out unfinished.
Just real quick there, because I think Kevin, correct me if I'm wrong. I think your question isn't so much about did they do the proper Jive Lee finish, but did they return to the Jive Lee refrain, which they don't do, and that's Northlands. Where and so we'll talk about that because I don't think many people really caught that. Even some of the people that were at the show didn't podcast the next
Well,
day.
thanks for correcting Ryan. It doesn't happen enough, but yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But my main thing about this Jive Lee is it's the expansion of that Digital Sauce late night disco jam that we heard in the Cap Arrow and then in the St. Louis Empress and then here, right? And as you mentioned, B, that 5 to 10 minute mark, that is absolute money. That is unbelievable jamming from them. Trevor leading, and they're just out floating in this space. I love that part. If they did that for 20 minutes, this would be absolutely the GOAT Jive Lee. Like if they were playing at that level. But after that, they kind of, they go into this build and peak, and it's amazing. But that's what puts it below Northlands for me. And we'll talk about Northlands when we get there. But this is an incredible, incredible jam. And I just remember in the moment kind of looking at my watch and being like, how long has this been? Because they'd never taken that much time with Jive Lee before. And I was just so excited about that. And yeah, Seeker's Animal, they're having a good time. As you said, B, appropriate Colorado, breathe it in. And they love playing Animal at shows that they're having fun at. So that's my thoughts.
Real quick, No California is Goose's best cover right now. It might be.
All right, Mr. Ate Up All the Cake. Sorry, Mr.
I do
State
like.
of the
Well,
Art.
my favorite cover of all time is State of the Art, but this
I
one,
go back and forth between both of those, and I forget what show it was. Both of you with the encyclopedic minds will already know, but the AEIO, I don't know my vowels right now, and the Ate Up All the Cake. I listen to those on repeat.
That's your education system in action, folks.
Thank you. Yep. I'm a teacher
Uh,
as well, so you have that going for you. But I listen to those constantly, man. There's such good songs, such good cover choices for Rick's vocals.
That's the thing, is like the hook on this is great. Like it's just like a great pop song, and I think it just fits what Goose does so well. And so like it's maybe
It's Hollywood
maybe Fish in the
Nights.
Sea,
I mean, how can it not be Hollywood?
maybe like a couple of. It's not Hollywood
Well,
Nights.
we'll get there. We'll get there.
We are almost there. In fact, we're very, very close to being there.
I'm very
But
excited.
like right now, it's the cover I'm most psyched about. It's probably like my biggest chase that Goose has. So like hopefully they play it at a show I'm at real soon. And then yeah, this Lee is hot, but I don't think it's the hottest Lee of the year. I don't think that really matters in the context of this discussion.
We've got
though,
2 hot
because,
Lees
like,
in 10 shows.
yeah.
And I honestly
Yeah.
think it's like the version of the color of the dress, like it's auditory preference, like which one sounds better to you, and that's
They
the one
are a
that you're
little,
gonna end
they're
up
a
going
little
with.
different. We're getting
Right.
Lees that are quality again, which is good.
But I did want to say one thing about the Lees. This is super important. And it doesn't matter which Lee is the best. What matters is they are playing more Lees. In 2023, they averaged a Lee every 14 shows. In 2024, they averaged a Lee every 4 shows. And we
It's a great
fucking
stat.
win when they do that. So
Except for the
If they're not going
Portland
to play
League, Neil.
Angboard, they might as well play Lee, for a little bit of vibes like that.
yeah, it's like no, there's no bad version of Lee, Ryan. Like I think no matter what, if they play it, like that Lee didn't work out. It didn't.
I'm playing that soundbite on the next episode.
Yeah, it absolutely didn't work out. The fact that they're playing it more often is great. Every 14 shows is a crime. Every 4, we win. So yeah, man, this it's great. So that's what I have to
No,
say
we saw
about
it.
this.
We saw it later on. Yeah, I agree. I think great set. I didn't touch on it too much in St. Louis, and I wish this is where we really started to see Q1, 3 to 4 openers, more or less in terms of the songs themselves. But with that said, can't echo enough the No California love, and it's rightfully so. But yeah, Lee's the winner.
And then real quick, also, quick question. Was this is something that we're also going to revisit multiple times, but was this, at this particular date, their largest sold-out show? Or the
No.
largest
Sold out.
largest crowd they played to?
No.
Okay. That was still Spock at this point?
SPAC. Yes.
At this point?
Not this isn't Star Trek, Kev.
I know.
Are you sure?
Like
When
this.
Peter says it's the biggest show they've played at like 7 times during the tour, it does get hard to keep track. Yeah, totally.
It gets confusing.
Well, he didn't say it in Colorado, so we
Was
can-
that?
Yeah,
But
well-
I thought, was that the second night?
No. It
Second night was. Yes, he did in fact say that the second night.
He did
Oh no,
say
he
that.
said it's the biggest show they ever
in
played in Colorado. Yeah.
Okay.
that's
So
right.
they had more
Oh,
tickets than
geez.
Red Rocks on night.
So Spock was still the winner.
Can we move on to set 2?
I believe it's SPAC.
Set 2, Wisteria. I mean, Wisteria, Feel It Now, Hunger Sight, Peggio, Dripfield, Encore Dawn. You heard that right. That's a set 2 that they actually played.
Woo.
And that's fire.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
Set 2.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yep.
Dawn a song?
No.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, luckily you guys are wrong.
I love this
So
discourse.
what'd you think about this? Wait. Before, let's just do it. Can we get the monologue about the Wisteria? Let's hear it, because I mean, we're not saying we're not fluffing to jam of the year, but what is this? The
Oh, I think it's
quality of
really,
this
really
song?
good. And it's easily the second best Wisteria, obviously behind Portland, which is top tier. This is lower
Yep.
tier, but this is still on my list. I mean, this is still an incredible jam. And for the most part, we talk about efficiency. So this is where we get into, an efficient kind of bliss jam, and it comes down to probably the last 5, 6, 7 minutes of this for me that are just really, really good. I just really, really like it. But this whole set for me, I mean, just the flow of this set, like, it doesn't matter that this isn't the Goat Wisteria or the Goat Hunger Side or the Goat Dripfield. This is pretty good versions
For sure.
of everything on this list. So the Wisteria being the best of the bunch for me. Feel It Now. I mean, it's a dance party. That's a good spot for it. I think if you're going to open with a big jam, then I think this is a really good spot for Feel It Now, because I don't even want to call it a cool down, because it becomes a dance party real quick, but it does have just a little bit of a cool down kind of feel when you first go into it. So I just think it fits the structure of the song and everything and what it turns into. I think this is a really good spot for it. So flow wise, yeah, I mean, I think this set is just ridiculous. Wisteria, Feel It Now, and then a big Hunger Sight. It's not a top level Hunger Sight, but it's a big jam. It's a high energy jam. You know what I mean? The crowd was loving it. It was long but maintained high energy. And then you get the big ballad spot, and you get Peggio, which almost everyone loves. I know one guy who doesn't love Peggio.
One fucking guy.
He's converted. He's
It
converted.
was probably this version.
Yeah, he's
I would
converted.
bet. And then you get the Dripfield. I'm pretty sure this Dripfield has a really nice Hollywood Nights jam in it. And again, it's just a really good version. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to, it's
Foreshadowing.
It's just a really good version. It's a highly this is a highly re-listenable set as a whole, which sometimes those can feel hard to come by. And then, yeah, I mean, I can't remember the deal with the written set list. SOS maybe was on there, whatever, but the Dawn Encore, I just think works really well. It's just a really powerful piece of music. And I think I might have said this. Oh, I absolutely called it a song. And if we're going to talk about the vinyl, it's not only a song, but it's my most played song on the vinyl. And look, last thing I'll say
That's an excellent
is that
point.
and I might have said this on the day after show, is that when if Goose comes out, or if they leave the stage after set 2 and they're looking at the clock and they're limited on time, Dawn should be a go-to option, because it's the power that it packs in that small amount of time. I mean, it really fits this spot really, really well. I was super, super happy to see that stand alone as an encore. I just thought this set flowed really well, and that was the cherry on top, so to speak.
Wisteria Lane has that explosions in the sky vibe that I pointed out earlier. You get it again in this jam. I do love this jam. Threw it on my playlist because of that. It's a shorter Wisteria, but it's worthy of going back and listening to. This one's really good. And whether or not this is like a jam of the year, it doesn't matter. This is one of those jams that's just good to listen to, right? Construction wise, this set is awesome. It's got all the elements. I think B touched on all of it. That you get the Wisteria, has like a pretty decent jam in it. You get the Feel It Now, which is like a weird cool down and fire up at the same time, which Goose does exceptionally well. They do it with Everything Must Go. This is another example of that. Hunger Sight always hits, never misses. Rarely hits it out of the park, but when it does, it really does. And then I've said it before, I'll say it again. I will repeat myself, and I don't mind doing it. If Peggy O is your second set cooldown, you are seeing an amazing show. That is it. So they do absolutely crush that one. And then I really like this trip field. The little jam that comes on the end of the strip field is awesome. Trip field doesn't always give you a little bit of a jam, and this one does, and the jam that you get is pretty great. And then the Dawn Encore was just right. We complain about setlist construction all of the time. We complain about encores more than anything.
True.
And then they go and they do something like this.
That's a great
This
one.
was the genius idea. Oh shit, we don't have much time. What
Two-
do we do?
Two of them.
Slightly.
Fiddler's had two good
Yeah.
encores.
Yeah, we
clearly.
like slightly don't have enough time to play SOS. So let's do part of SOS.
Let's do the
Let's
part
do
of SOS that just
Well, let's
fucking
just play
crushes.
Dawn instead of SOS.
Kev, I swear to God, I will kick you out of
Ryan is about to have a fucking nervous breakdown. All right, Ryan, say what you got to say, dude.
The set is amazing. I don't have a ton to add. I just want to highlight the hunger site being it felt like concerted effort on their part to just kind of explore and kind of push the boundaries of like how far can we go building one vein without going on full on peak mode. Because later in the tour, we're going to talk about the hunger sites.
You mean like
where they
musical
go
edging?
in that full on, yeah, exactly, musical edging. Thank you, D, for reminding me of that great parallel.
Oh yeah, let me
later
create
on in
that
the
in my head
tour-
real quick here.
There you go. Later on in the tour,
Mm,
we're going to see these hunger sites where they're built around several minutes of sustained, very high energy peaking, and then a few minutes of exploration at the end. And this one just feels like let's keep kind of pushing the boundary and pushing the boundary and pushing the boundary for a long
Just
time
holding out.
without
just
deviating,
holding
without
onto it.
exploring very much. But they're doing something cool here. And again, not a playlist jam for me, but really cool thing. And then just Wisteria and Dripfield, bookends, bliss jams, outsides, in the mountain. Great.
Withholding the peak, D.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yep.
Hey,
And
I
then-
hear they played another show in Colorado after they played this show.
Oh,
Did they
and
really?
not only
Kev, were you there?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Not only did they play a second night in attendance bias-free Colorado,
Fiddler's Greenfield.
they played it at the same spot that they played the night before at Fiddler's
No
Green
way.
Amphitheater in Greenwood Village, Colorado. This was also a June show. Was it the 8th or the 9th? I don't have it
Great.
in front of me.
Great city.
This was the 8th.
Oh, you're awesome, Ryan. Just ready to go. Great city. I'm just saying that because B said it. I don't necessarily agree with the sentiment.
You are indeed a villager, though. Don't let him fool you. He is a Greenwood villager. Did you walk to the show?
Well,
Probably could have.
I did not.
Okay. Well,
I could not have.
Yeah.
I-25 is a little dicey for pedestrians. I don't.
Greenwood Village is.
I
bigger
don't
than
advise.
Dallas.
I don't advise.
That's what you're
that.
saying.
You mean those people that were like scootering
The
down
scooters
the
are out of
highway
hand.
that one time
the
we
scooters
saw
are
them?
absolutely out of hand.
Yeah, that's not.
All right. Well, we're not here to talk about Colorado culture. B, I know you like to go into Denver and kind of shake your fist at the young kids who are scootering down the highway.
I read something in
Get
Westward
off
that
my interstate.
I just read something in Westward that B threw some kid's skateboard into the Platte River. I don't know if that's true or not.
I would believe it. But Kev, why don't you tell us about the first set? On
So night 2 at Fiddler's. I feel honored to be able to introduce the show for one. I'm sorry, I'm going to talk about vibes for a moment here.
What?
Finally got to connect with all you guys after finessing some travel folks, family that was here, my sister, as well as both of my nieces who made it to
Big
both
fans.
shows, who have become large Goose fans in their own right. Big fans, big fans. Double-digit show counts on both of them, though they've never
They're ahead of
been-
you.
They
They've
do love
never- no, they're
Fancy
not.
Goose also.
dick. They're ahead of B, which I shouldn't have
Yeah,
said
which is
because
not
he's so
true.
supportive and nice when they're around. So, but anyway,
Yeah, whatever.
getting into set 1 here, we open up with Turn Clouds, cover Lookout Cleveland, always a welcome cover, Lookout Cleveland. The lead up, Katie's favorite, California Magic, Drive, and then what's become like everybody's favorite new Goose song,
Anthem.
the anthem for Goose,
Go
like
ahead.
Give It
Give It
Time,
Hell.
just a banger.
So one thing I kind of hadn't touched on, it's we kept seeing our quarter one, right? The one thing that I'll touch back on from St. Louis is, and I don't know if we had any other show this, Ryan, you might be able, or somebody might be able to pull me quick, is an opening jam. So right, we've been going with the 3 songs at least three songs to open the show, more or less. Turn Clouds, Look Out Cleveland, a little bit, and the Turn Clouds touches even longer and lead up. California Magic. This is a 4-pack, if you may, on this situation. But the Drive, I thought after another listen of the Drive today, I continued to be more impressed by this jam each time I listen. A very unique one. It sort of feels like the Born from St. Louis a little bit, in the sense of trying out some things. It's maybe plotting and kind of doesn't really hit, but what I like about this is, one might argue that it goes on too long, but at the same time it fills the set well. Is they're trying to sort of find spaces, and I think it sort of showed them some new areas that they can get to with the song and maybe cut it down into a 15 to 20 minute version, which was nice. So fun set. We're here for the second, but I mean, you end with the Drive, Give It Time for the last 40 minutes. To see this song for the first time live was very special. To basically yell it into B's and Ryan's ears was just pretty magical. I think it was really fun and then singing Rick solo was top notch.
Did you lock eyes?
Oh,
I
I
did, and-
probably was, too much.
And before we throw it to you, B, just shout out to my mom for her first Give It Time this night. Ever
She
since
said the one song she wanted to hear that too.
correct, she heard it for the first time after the cap run, and she was like, "This is my new favorite song of all time," and it's the only thing she wanted at Fiddler's going into that weekend. And I was so happy to.
Yeah, shout out to Lisa.
Shout out to my mom.
Yeah, this Drive is really good. But I'm not disagreeing with anything that Dee said. I do love it's a nice, just chill, just kind of pretty jam. It's kind of almost like a chromatic, upward progression that they just build on. And I really love that part of the jam. Then they go into a little bit of a kind of a Factory Fiction-esque jam to close it out, which I guess maybe that's where you might say, yeah, if people are going to say, did it go on too long or whatever? I mean, play Factory Fiction if you want to play it. You know what I mean? Or just wrap up that beautiful jam and don't feel like you have to do too much. I think maybe that's where I think this one falls into that category for me a little bit of it. It's like, was somebody feeling like they just had to do more when they didn't need to do any more? You know what I mean? Could have ended that. And it would have just been a gorgeous jam. And so maybe that Factory Fiction stuff, maybe is that by design? Like, oh, let's tease the fuck out of Factory Fiction. Or is it, oh shit, we feel like we need to do more here, but not sure where to go. But Factory Fiction sounds cool. So who knows what's going on with any of that stuff. But only other thing I want to say is that, yeah, I mean, just give it time. I mean, I felt the same way as Lisa. I mean, this was one of the songs I came into this 2-night run like really, really hoping to hear. And so to get it made me super happy. And like Dee said, I mean, I think we're not here to talk about vibes at this time, but the vibes are pretty high.
Vibes were
until
high.
Ryan punched me in the side of the head later in the show.
And that would also
Yes.
become a theme throughout
Yeah,
tour,
it's getting out of
where he
hand.
was physically assaulting other concert
Just for the record, what had happened was, I think it was during Madhavan, or it was somewhere during the show, I was dancing, and B
I was
bent-
carefully placing my beverage back into its holder, and it was dark.
and he clearly had his area taped off. Okay,
You're like 8 feet tall, B, and you bent down, but did you really need to bend down that far
Yeah.
in range of my flailing hands as I was
he's
dancing
blaming
and
you,
preaching
B.
on the show? I am. He was asking for it because of how much. He
Oh
bent
my
down.
god!
Anyway,
Well, no, on the topic of Ryan's mom, like Brian brought it up.
What?
So she's been on the podcast before, and she has pointed out that Ryan Storm
No.
not athletic.
We love Lisa.
no, I'm
we
not
love
athletic.
Lisa. I mean, she's
Friend of the
best.
pod.
Ryan Storm not athletic.
Shout out to
So
Lisa.
I mean, B, in a way, it's kind of your own fault for just being next to Ryan while he's
Proximity.
dancing.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
dude, that's
Yeah,
on you.
there were times when we had more room in the row, and there were times when I got a little bit compact. And
Getting to the
Yeah, let's
meat.
do it.
Let's get to the meat of this. So set 2, why everybody's here for Fiddler's Night 2. We open with an absolutely dissonant, experimental, scorching Madhavan.
Jotty,
Goated. Madhavan. Silver Rising, Arrow, which again,
This
they're not
Hollywood
boring anymore, man.
Nights.
They're entertaining to listen to.
This
And the Bee's
Hollywood
favorite
Hills.
cover, it's gotta be his favorite cover. Yeah.
Let me tell
And-
you, Kev, the one thing that I'm upset about is that you weren't with B. Not that, I mean, I was upset that we weren't together for the whole run, but the fact that you weren't with us when B got his first Hollywood night.
And I'm going to tell you why I'm sad about why I missed that. Because I know with the way that the wind was blowing, like when it was being played and when he was echoing those lyrics back to Rick, that his wind was just flowing and blowing into the air. And it was majestic. And I'm so sad that I wasn't there to see it. Like that has to be my biggest like failure as a concert goer this year, that I wasn't there to see a billowing bee.
Billowing B.
Seagrass bee.
B, do you want to take it away on this set? I know you can probably talk for a long time.
No, there's no sense in doing a dissertation on this Matt event. I'll talk about it a little bit, but everybody has already heard it. I want to back up for a second and again look at this set too. I said it after the shows and I'm still saying it. Back to back, I don't know that there's a back to back stronger pair of set twos that have been played. And last night was phenomenal. And then this night, phenomenal in a different way. You know, last night was like just the perfect flow of bang, bring it down, dance party, banger, perfect ballad, banger, sick encore. Tonight, it's a little bit different. It's Goat Matavan. This is a monumental jam. You know what I mean? This is going to be in anybody's top of the top ever conversation. You know, maybe I'm not saying it's the best jam ever, but it's going to be in that conversation for just about everyone. This is a phenomenal jam. So to open set 2 with a jam like this, I mean, it's just incredible way to start the set. And then you get Silver Rising, just beautiful song, one of their best, again, ballad type songs, but that has power to it, power and energy to it. And by the way, I thought about this in the moment, but after nailing that Matavan and just imagine like the adrenaline and the confidence. And so, you know, they just destroy the Silver Rising. I mean, it's Silver Rising. It didn't go type 2 anything like that, but I mean, it just crushed it. They just crushed the rest of this set for that matter. Then you get the Arrow, which I think was a good call in this spot. You know, I think we kind of knew it was doing. In fact, I think when they opened set 2, we were thinking, oh, Matavan or Arrow is probably coming, right? Especially when Peter had the guitar. So here you get the non-jammed Arrow, but with just the perfect segue into the perfect cover. Not only is it one of the best covers that they play, but it's just a really, you know, it's a really good call. You know, talk about, you know, the set list calls. You know, sometimes you're just looking at the songs relative to the other songs that are being played and whatever. But I think in a broader sense, you look at a crowd like this, you know, a large crowd like this. Peter did the whole, you know, raise your hand if this is the first time you've ever heard of Goose type stuff. But at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of like first timers and, you know, casual fans. And Hollywood Nights is just it's just a banger of a cover that like everybody knows, and it's so good and they do it so well. So I think there's layers to that choice there that have to be appreciated, in my opinion. And then the Travelers El Mega Encore. So again, this is just a perfectly constructed, near perfectly constructed set.
And weren't we also talking at one point about the Humphreys sit-in with Rick playing Hollywood
I think
Nights?
it just reinvigorates everyone it touches.
Listen, if you could have seen the realization on B's face when I was like, "It's Hollywood
I didn't know
Nights,"
till Ryan told me.
And when it was started happening, and seeing, well, I called it first. That's just a fact.
And if I can, real quick to wrap up the set list before the rest of the discourse happens, being somebody that was really like the Autumn Crossing can go fuck itself, I guess, guy. To get that at this show personally while I was there, Autumn Crossing, obviously for those that don't know, Travelers and Elmeg with a little jam in it. Little jam.
Okay, because it was almost like a fuck you to the Autumn Crossing can go fuck itself guy.
Oh man, I took it. And it felt so good, B.
All right, Neil.
Oh, just a couple thoughts. Goat Madavon? Yeah, I think that's right. I think this jam it's a milestone jam. Whether or not like you think it's like the best ever, you think it's the jam of the year, it doesn't matter. It is a milestone jam. I think there are probably 2 or 3 milestone jams on this tour about this band, and like that's a thing that I'm really, really excited about, is that we're getting jams that feel like milestone jams right now, frequently. So not much more to say about the jam other than I implore you to go listen to it if you haven't heard it already. And
Go
then
listen
actually,
to it again
if you,
if you did.
back up a step, like if you ignore set breaks, like 3-song runs on the year, this might be one of my favorite 3-song runs with that drive, which is a pretty great drive. The first jam in that drive is awesome. Then you get the Give It Time, which is probably Goose's most exciting new finger quote song. And then you get this Madavon. I mean, holy shit. That's an amazing 3-song run, ignoring the set break. Amazing stuff. Really, really cool. And then, yeah, Hollywood Nights kills it. I mean, I think set list construction wise, when Goose plays at a shed, they build up their set list. They play the amazing set list. So, like, you think about SPAC last year, you think about CMAC that's coming. Like, I mean, CMAC has one of my favorite set lists ever. And then this show has like one of my favorite set lists ever. Holy crap. How does it get better than this? I mean, the first set is very first setty, but you get big jams in the first set, you get big jams in the second set, you get really awesome cover, and then you get Autumn Crossing for an encore. I mean, absolutely spectacular stuff.
My only really thing to add on this Madavon is listen to Trevor at minute 25. That is the moment for me where it goes from being an amazing jam to holy shit, they're really doing this. That's the shit right there. When he starts stepping out and doing those like massive, like evil, like that like makes everyone sit up and take notice, whether you were totally dialed into the jam or you're someone who, is seeing Goose for the first time. Maybe you were talking to your friend, even though they were in a really big jam, and like, holy shit, like this is amazing. And everything going from light to dark, like this Madavon goes everywhere. I did actually just today demote it from my number 1 on my playlist in favor of the Cap Drive. But as we've been talking about it again, I've not been so sure of that decision. So maybe by the time the episode comes out, it might be number 1 again. But I'm gonna AB it tomorrow.
Well, don't keep the people in suspense. Whatever you do with that decision,
whether it's number 1 or
tweet
not,
it out as soon as you know.
I would never. Oh well, I will. Not that you'll find out.
Westville Rockdale's the answer, but that's for another
get there,
podcast.
Neil. We'll get there, Neil. That's
We'll
like 3 weeks from this.
Yeah, about that.
from this show. Autumn Crossing was incredibly special to see. I just think the Autumn Crossing later in the tour musically was better, but this one was just so special because it was like the first time they're doing it live with
way more emotional
interlude. And I personally was expecting when they went off after Hollywood Nights, short second set, 30 minutes until curfew. I said to you guys, I was like, they're going to do a really gigantic Arcadia right here. Yeah, like that was my prediction. And they came out and they started Travelers.
Here's the thing. This Autumn Crossing, like I agree, it was very emotional. I remember Dee and I sharing a moment like throughout the run, really. Dee and I, well, just dancing together,
ongoing moments,
sharing the aisle and
vibing,
not hitting each other in the face.
Yeah, no punches thrown.
Nothing physical,
we had
just
some
emotional.
gut
punching.
We took some hits.
Shout out Legal, John.
Shout out to John from Legal, sponsor. Anyway, that's going to be all for Colorado here. Let's move out of the state of attendance bias and head to Omaha.
Fuck off.
So continuing on with our next night, we had this followed up by the
Monday Night Goose
night.
Monday.
June 10th, 2024 at the Steelhouse.
That's Omaha.
We had a few fans showing up at 7
Great
a.m.
city.
You know, no big deal outside. Shout out, Justin.
No.
Yep, that's how it's
Shout out
done.
to Shook.
That's how it's done. Shout out, Shook.
Omaha don't sleep.
We rep it.
Shuma.
So, all right, big set, couple songs here. We had a Dr. Darkness opener, followed by a fan favorite. Howard Johnson's got his Hojo working, aka Hojo. Love it. Indian River into Cantaloupe Island, and then a very unique pairing of Echo of a Rose dripping into a honeybee, followed by a Bob Don light with back into Echo.
Fat
And
free
then
with.
we wanted to just finish it off with a butter rum. So
No.
Can I
once
start
again,
with butter rum?
wait,
Okay,
No.
before we go.
No, let
No.
Daniel finish.
wait a minute. I thought this is, I mean, if you're talking like Goose as like the weird song set list, this is pretty much like, this reminds me of 2018 Goose probably.
Yeah.
Dr. Darkness, great opener, weird, not everyone's favorite. And then you have the Hojo. Maybe would have flipped those two. But the Indian River Cantaloupe Island was really good. Get rid of both. Delta fell into the Cantaloupe very, very smoothly, I thought. And then Echo, the jam itself, not as good as the part 2 Skyla we will talk about next week. But I don't know. The Bob Down With was fun. And then you got a butter rum. And I mean, you know,
Oh boy.
seriously, if you want to talk about a song that jams, this is it. So we might.
Some might say, D, that hating on this rum is hating on some of Rick's best guitar
Best
work of the tour.
Of the tour.
And it's like a
Yeah.
spoiled child claiming that the family trip to Disney was a disaster because they had to have cake for dessert instead of ice cream.
You know what? You know what? And it's actually pretty good.
Listen, I just want to say I love Cantaloupe Island, and I have a special connection to the song. Yeah, it's Kevin and I's first show. Yeah, Kevin and I's first show. We got a nice tumble
Why?
cantaloupe sandwich. And we had some, I think we had something else in that sandwich too that I think I took out
A triple decker
when I
tumble.
reheated it the next day. We had a little Loggins in there, right?
right.
Indian River
Make the
Cantaloupe
move.
Island or Indian River Welcome
Come on,
to Delta.
Grandpa.
I'd probably go Cantaloupe Island every time.
And so to get out of the Delta into Cantaloupe was welcomed.
Yeah, no, I think this was really good pairing. They didn't stick in the Delta for too long before heading into Cantaloupe, and Cantaloupe was sick. Shout out to friend of the pod, Working Man's Matt, who got his Hojo. You know, he tweeted earlier in the day of this show, 40-minute Hojo coming tonight. And they played Hojo. And it wasn't 40 minutes, but they played it. So he gets credit for that one. This Echo is really, really cool. I listened to it for the first time, I think, since the show the other day. And I actually forgot how much I liked it. It's like 19 minutes or so. Really, really solid jam. Again, this is like bottom 5 of my playlist after listening to it the other day. I threw it on as kind of a courtesy just because I think it deserves a listen. But yeah, solid stuff. And rum, really good. Not on my playlist.
But the rum should replace that Echo and be higher, is what I would say. Right, Neil? Let's hear it.
No, my point about the rum was that not all rums are bad. This is a rum that is good.
They've been jamming
Classic
rum the last
Neil. I
2
love
years.
this framing, man.
They've been jamming rum in the last 2 years. I will give it to them.
There are times when they jam a rum and it sounds really, really good. I think one that really sticks out in my memory is Westville 2022. Very, very good rum. This rum also very, very good, especially in a tour where Rick is playing so well. There's something about this song that brings out excellent guitar work. I think that actually happens in this. Is this a jam of the year? No. Should this be on your
The
jam of
return
the year
of rum,
playlist? I mean, I don't think so. But I mean, if you want to, fine by me. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Cantaloupe Island, though, if you're old like I am and you were around for like hip hop, the jazz hip hop thing that was going on.
He
in
was
the
around
90s,
for the creation of jazz.
let me finish the thought. Us Three, if you remember the hip hop group, Us Three. Do you remember these guys?
I
All of
do,
them?
absolutely. I know
They're
absolutely
fucking awesome.
where you're going. Yep.
So that's my introduction to this song. I said that on the day after show, but I'm going to say it here. My introduction to this song was that, and I was just like, "Holy shit, what is this?" You know. And so then I learned what Cantaloupe Island was, and is absolutely amazing. I don't know what the word is for it. It's like a riff or whatever. but it's so catchy and so good. And love the fact that Goose played this and will chase this forever because I really, really want to hear him play it. And then bobbed on with kind of, that's exciting.
Light with.
Kind of.
With-ish.
Yeah.
Semi-with. It's like
No, I like Kev. Fat-free with.
Fat-free
Yeah.
wit. It's like
D,
Philly.
take us into set 2.
Fat-free wit.
All right. So we had a much more truncated set 2. Pancakes opener, followed by an Into the Mist that dripped into a Old Man's Boat, and another solid Arcadia with a Way It Is encore. So solid pancakes for me. Maybe, I mean, a little longer versus sort of the quality, but a good version. There was a lot of good pancakes this year. And then the mist dripping into the boat, kind of similar to the summer camp mist, where you got a little bit of the way they've been jamming mist this year. And Old Man's Boat, good Arcadia. I think it reads well on paper. Kind of is what it is.
Let me just say that the misty Old Man's Boat isn't what I think looks good on a list. I think. Hey, listen. I think that
I don't want to sail on that.
But hey, Arcadia intro. Let's talk about that.
No, this is a really peculiar set.
It's good. They should play it.
This is a really
However long it
peculiar
was.
set because it's one substitution
more.
away from being like just incredible on paper. You know what I mean? And we're including the Way It Is encore because not only is that a great cover choice to encore, but this is actually a really good. This kind of reminds me of the Masquerade that we talked about earlier. This is really kind of good and like somewhat unique little take on the Way It Is. So yeah, so this is almost a great set. But I think at the end of the day, yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know what it is about the Old Man's Boat, but it doesn't do it for me. And especially as a set 2, like late set 2 song. I think that's where this one kind of lost me a little bit. And the Arcadia just didn't recover it for me. I think Omaha deserves better.
It was a Monday, okay?
Monday.
I think the thing about this Arcadia is that it's just so fun and so good for its whole duration. Similar to the Cap, similar to Soulshine. Like, Neil, you mentioned about
this one's better than the
days of
Soulshine.
jammed Arcadias are in the past, and that's fine for me. I think, if they want to play Arcadia like this, great. I would like to see them play an Arcadia to open a second set that does go somewhere. Give themselves the slot, like not as the set closer. Put themselves in the mindset of this can be a launch pad for some jamming. But as this one stands, I love the intro. I love just the nonstop energy and exuberance. You could tell they're really building up and working the room a little here. Again, a lot of locals in Omaha, who may not have seen the band before.
Hey, look, I lived in Omaha, and it truly is. When I say great city, I mean it. From Greenwood Village to Omaha, Nebraska, these are great towns and cities. And I did have some friends that made it to the show, made it out on a Monday night to the Steelhouse. They were psyched. I mean, they were like, butter rum is amazing.
Monday.
What did they think?
I was like, don't listen to the pod. No, let me say one more thing because that was a joke. Truthfully, one of my dear friends, oldest friends, went to a lot of Fish shows together. This was his first Goose show, and I without looking up the text from him, I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines of Arcadia is like fucking amazing. Like it was something I'm paraphrasing, but it was close to that. Yeah, he had a great time. They thought it was a fantastic show. So, and that venue I also heard is an amazing new venue in Omaha. So maybe hopefully they'll come back. I'd like to make it out if they do come back.
Yeah. As far as Omaha goes. Well, you say that now, but if you leave the state of Colorado, you might die. So
Let's go to Kansas City and keep going east.
Let's go to Kansas City.
Another great city,
Tuesday
by the
night
way.
here in Kansas City at the Midland Theater, a place they have played once before in the fall of 2022.
Great city.
Jive Goose is a man about America, okay? This guy has lived everywhere, from North Quincy to Omaha and everything in between, and some places outside of that. So, first set, Butterflies lead the way, flow down, Inside Out, Fifth of Beethoven, So Ready. This flow down is really interesting. This is not your average flow down. Really cool intro happening here. Check it out if you like flow down. If you
In
are
the
someone
3-spot.
If you are someone like Brian Brinkman who doesn't like SOS and loves flow down, go listen to this flow down. And if
Some
you
interesting
are
flow
a
downs on
sane
tour.
person and you like SOS, and there are SOSs for you coming 3 days after this. This Inside Out, oh my God, talk about something for Neil here. As somebody who is as big a Spoon fan as
doggy.
he is, this
God, I
is
love
it.
fucking Spoon.
Neil
This
is
is
the
it.
big spoon of the pod.
This Inside Out is something that initially didn't strike me as hard. It didn't strike me as hard in the moment, but it was on the drive from Portland to Philly where we were talking about it, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not super high on it. And Neil was like, you're an idiot. And then we listened to it, and I was like, oh wow, I was completely wrong about this jam. This jam is absolutely incredible.
I don't know if you were that wrong.
I was, and it's okay to be wrong, Jive Goose. But Neil, I would like to throw the floor over to you to talk about how much you love Spoon.
I do like this jam. I think it's my favorite cover that they did on this tour.
Version-wise, just of a song and jam, you're saying?
Jam-wise, there are 3 covers that they did exceptionally well on this tour. There's the
You
Inside Out
rate
from
this
this
better
show.
than the half step? Sorry.
Oh, hell yeah, I rate it better than the half step. Yes.
Ooh.
Half step, I think, isn't very dynamic. I think this one actually is. I think actually of the 3 covers that I think are really, really great, which is the other one being the In Your Eyes from Philly. This one is first on the list. In Your Eyes from Philly is second, and then third is the
Wow.
the half step. Yeah, I think that's it.
Bro.
I think the one thing I have to say about this, mean in the best way, I think the first half for me is like a very plodding jam. It's sort of finding spaces once again. And then I do think they find a great shift and kind of like move into this like minor dark space for a while, which is fun. It sort of reminds me of maybe like a passing off of like a Redbird jam where it's sort of like Peter is kind of rinsing keys in circles, sort of like Cotter is playing. I do like it. I'll have to listen to this versus the half step. I like the In Your Eyes. I think I've like was maybe higher on it to start, and I would probably put that at the bottom right now. I know we're talking further in the future, but I think it's good. Either way, surprising, I would say. I was sort of shocked that they went into a jam this big, and then we saw 2 more later on in the tour, but that we'll talk about next week. But this one kind of just threw me a little bit. I'll admit, I listened to this after the fact. I think I had a hockey game this night, and I was very surprised that they threw a 25-minute Inside Out.
Jive wants to talk about that Fifth of Beethoven, though, so let him go.
Dude, dude.
That's hot.
Talk about covers I love.
Hot.
No, hey, so here's the thing. So Salt Shed Inside Out, I'm a huge fan of. I love that jam. I love the song. That's why I was so stoked when they did the Salt Shed. You know, that was the first time they really took it out there. This version, the jam, I mean, it just doesn't do that much for me. I have it's my 4th big cover jam behind Cape Cod Kwasa.
Oh, well, we were talking summer, I think.
I no, but I'm just saying of the year, just in terms of jams, cover jams of the year.
Jive Goose is just trying to go to see Vampire Weekend later this year.
If you listen to these jams, in my opinion, this Inside Out jam is very one-dimensional. You've got to give it to Cape Cod that it at least goes to a bunch of different places. That's not high on my list either. I'm not saying either of these are high on my list. I'm just saying that that's where they land, right? I currently Inside Out's on my No Jam of the Year for You Pal playlist already. And if we're just going to cover off on covers real quick, I just got to say that for me, it's absolutely Half Step, Gap, In Your Eyes.
Thank you.
Cape Cod, Inside Out. For that matter, Half Step's not even that high on my list either, because that jam isn't necessarily exceptional.
No, and I think that's fine. We don't want the covers to be Spain.
I know.
So
Let's
gotta-
and then they close the set with So Ready, and that happened. Let's go to set 2 here. We have Rockdale, Spirit of the Dark
Woo.
Horse, Hunger Sight, A Western Sun, Hot Tea. This is the beginning of the Rockdale Renaissance, folks. It's coming back.
yeah.
Let's go. And Neil, you brought this to my attention yesterday that this would have been on the bracket if they hadn't ripcorded it into a no jam Dark Horse. But this Rockdale is amazing. It departs pretty quickly into this really nice airy jam. I love what they're doing here. Again, they're exploring the Rockdale. We're going to see a couple of unfinished versions coming up, which I love. Take this song out. Do things with it. Which is what
25
we've been
minutes.
talking
Let's do it
about
in the
for the
fall.
last 2 years since the last time it did anything. And then this Hunger Sight. I love this Hunger Sight so much. This is the best Hunger Sight of the year so far, which obviously, as you mentioned with Fiddlers, not saying a ton,
Not
but
saying a ton.
this Hunger Sight is really, really good. I especially love in the initial peak section, that high octane stuff. Peter's doing this kind of repeating descending riff on piano and then on organ, and it's really just kind of elevating the vibe. And then they get into the disco clav funk, clav tweet. I love it. Kind of like the London Hunger Sight from last fall.
Mad
but
World
a little
teases.
better. Mad World, Cantaloupe Island. You've got it. You've got it. Yeah, this Hunger Sight's amazing. And then little cool down Western Sun, Hot Tea, Jive 2 Encore. Absolutely love it. And also, I forgot to mention with this show, this was the show of the tour where they went on at the stroke of ticket time, which was really interesting. Why did they do it once and never again? You may never know. But they did. They went on at 8 o'clock
were getting
exactly.
Notable moments in Goose history.
It was a big night day the next day to Indianapolis. So let's hear
but,
about it.
Yeah.
it's a long
Getty wanted to
drive.
get home. Getty wanted to get home.
Exactly. Anyway, that's those are my thoughts on that second set.
I don't have much to say about the set. I mean, there's not enough to write home about. This Rockdale, though, is hot, and it's on my playlist. I think it has sections that I think are really, really cool. It has like a really nice Dragonfly adjacent jam that is pretty hot. The only thing that hurts this Rockdale is the fact that it is roughly 16 minutes. So you would say, if you looked at it on paper and say, like, a 16-minute Rockdale, of course this sucks. It doesn't. It is, in fact, very, very,
Who says
very
that?
good.
I don't see song length. No, I don't see song lengths.
No, this one is one that defies like song length. I really do think that the improv in this is exceptional, but like they just failed because they really wanted to play Dark Horse, which is, I mean, it's a rarity. So awesome if you're there and you're like you check off the Dark Horse off the list. But again, I think Dark Horse in this year has a significantly lower average gap than it has ever had since
Bring it
was
back.
being played in
You
2022.
got to bring back Thunder. Let me listen. When you're ready to bring back Thunder, bring
I'm
back
sorry.
the proper Dark Horse.
I have
We'll
to
talk.
correct you. I think it's pronounced 700
700.
or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's somewhere in the middle, and you have to. I don't have the. I don't
And when
have the
when it comes
linguistic
back, is it going to be its own song, or will it be just part of Dark Horse? A lot of questions to be answered here.
part of Dark Horse. Always has been.
Yep.
Hunter.
I think it's
Come
Thunder.
from the rundown
Thunder.
thunder.
700.
All right. Anything else? Anyone have anything else to add on this set?
I hear they
I
play a
mean,
show right after this one.
Well, they
I
did.
thought the Jive 2 encore we just talked about good encores kept the theme going. I'm okay with that. To be fair, it's good to end the show well. I would like to see a jammed Western Sun is my next challenge for the band. I'll give it that. So
Amen to that. Mr. Jive, take us to the Getty show, please.
no whistling.
Oh, thank
Hallelujah.
you. Thank you, Neil. Indianapolis.
Thank you, Neil.
Indianapolis. Great. Oh, no, actually, no. No. Step 1. Doc Brown opener, which is
Doc Bropener?
No, don't. All I need,
Doc
I'm
Bropener.
writing a novel, Atlas Dogs, Yeti, Everything Must Go. That's a little choppy, even to say the words. in succession like that is
It's got
it
some
sounds
chugal, actually.
choppy. It's like choppy on paper and choppy out of the mouth. So I do love the Doc Brown opener, by the way. I mean, I know we always talk about, song 2, it's gonna be a banger, but I like it as an
Well,
opener.
they would have flipped it with the need. I would have liked
Yeah,
that.
I don't know. Yeah, I like it. I like it opening the show. I think it's got good energy for that. You know what I mean? It's got a nice laid back, just come out chill, way to open the show.
I thought the All I Need was pretty good here. Very solid in this slot. You had a little bit of chugal, the writing a novel. Good Everything Must Go.
Good set.
Good set. This Everything Must Go is great,
No,
but lovers of Bliss jams like Vickers have this way higher than they should.
It's not a
but
Bliss jam.
It's a good. Okay, but Vickers has it, which means it's a Bliss jam.
I thought the All I Need had some good Dragonfly sections. We saw
Yeah, a
that a
little
couple
bit.
nights later.
Vibes.
And to be honest, can we please, this actually started my theme. The rest of this year, I'm putting out a Dragonfly. People will hear this at this moment, and I'm fine with it. I think
Neil
that's a
is a
song.
noted skeptic of the fact that they had it on the set list in Portland.
Yeah.
Just for the record.
So we saw it on the set list. We'll talk about it again next week, but I've seen it once in person. I've caught it. I wear one on my arm that you can't see obviously on this, cam right now, but no, I love that song, and I think it's one that Rick has literally danced on that song for years on end, so why not play it every 10th show?
Amen. Amen. Yeah, this was a fun set. Novel's a great cover.
set
Do
2.
you want to go to set
Yeah,
2?
yeah. Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. Set 2, Danger Zone. Set 2 opener. Creatures.
I'm glad you're the one reading this show.
Shama Lama Ding Dong.
Ding dong.
Moby. Dripfield. Rosewood Heart.
Moby Drip.
The Empress of Organos. Very interesting set.
How does it read? How does it come out of the mouth? A little
It
choppy.
gets better. I feel like once you wet your whistle, it starts to flow. In fact, I mean, Moby through Empress is really good on paper. Moby Dripfield Rosewood Empress. I mean, that's a
Moby Drip, not Moby Dip,
that
but Moby
is
Drip.
and that's more than just Q4 and Encore. You know what I mean? That's an extensive section of this show, and I think we should remember that.
I thought the Rosewood's really good.
Yeah, I think that's the highlight. I think that's definitely the highlight of this show in the moment.
At least you're
And I don't know that I've gone back and listened to it again, but I believe that the
I listened to it
Rosewood
again today. It's good.
was good. What did you guys think?
It was. I mean, both of the Rosewoods this year have kind of focused on this very sparkly and twinkly build within the song. This one is shorter than the cap. The strip is very good. I will never complain about a Moby. I'm going backwards. Shout out to Paige Caruso, who got shammed the show before she was seeing Goose once again.
Third time or second, but at least the second.
Fourth? I don't know.
Yeah, Jesus.
Who knows? It's happened a lot. Sorry, Paige. Neil, sorry.
Friend
You
of
had
the pod.
thoughts?
We love you, Paige.
On the second set, no, I'm good.
Oh, okay. It looked like it.
No, I
Empress
mean,
is-
I really,
The Empress,
have nothing-
Empress is good too. We continue another
But
good
this is-
encore, and it honestly
this is not the-
stays the same.
But this is not the Empress Encore that we want to talk about a lot. And that will be in part 2 that we will talk about,
No.
the one that Neil did not leave early for. Speaking of Neil, do you want
Here
to
we go.
turn over to an absolutely incredible show that came at this festival on June 14th?
Oh yeah, I actually have to give you props because that's an excellent segue because I did leave the show early. However, we'll get into that when we get to that. So
Well,
this is
you didn't leave Northlands early. You left.
Did
another
you
show.
leave willingly, or were you asked to leave?
No, we had some.
No, I wasn't asked
12
to leave. I've never been asked to leave a Goose show, as far as I know.
Yet?
I was asked to leave a Fix show at the Middle
What?
East. The
A
Fix.
who show?
The Fix. It's for those of us that are old enough.
This is your Jive Goose I'm old fact of the night.
We needed good Fish cover bands, in like 05, 06, 07. And there was a really, really good one called The Fix. And that was
Oh, like PHIX.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I get it. That's clever.
They're really good guys, really good band, really good musicians.
Good guys.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. Let's talk about
Oh, we're
this
talking about
Drive Lee.
Northlands. Yeah, no shit. Yeah, so Northlands Festival. I did not leave this one early. I launched into that. I was like really excited to talk about how I left a Goose show early. But in any case, here we are, Northlands Schwazy. Third round of Schwazy. I've been there for
Schwazy.
every single Schwazy show.
All
The
three.
drive-in shows, right?
Yeah, I was there 2020. I was there 2021. I was there, obviously, this year.
Shout out
And
to the
Ryan can
Godark
attest,
area.
amazing venue, first and foremost. Very different now that it's a festival versus a drive-in show, but the vibe is still clearly awesome. It's like in a weird spot, which is almost Vermont. Like you're right on the Vermont border up there. So you're almost in the Green Mountains. It's really cool. Beautiful, beautiful venue. And really cool festival, actually. Like super small festival, and yeah, all around just nice. Ryan, you have something to say about the festival before I get in this?
No, I just want to say shout out to Greg Knight for the hospitality and having us being so great at the festival that weekend. We had a blast. Shout out to the Keene State dorms.
Yeah.
Shout out to parking lot Modelo's.
Yeah, all of those things, which I was going to get into, by the way. So thank you, Greg, by the way, for being so hospitable and helpful.
Mr. Knight.
So we had a great time at the show.
We did.
And yeah, my hope is I run into Greg again soon so I can see pictures of his baby, because we didn't get a chance to look at pictures of his baby. But in any case, so set list. Here we go. We get, actually, is now a good time to talk about the sound check, which was awesome. They did Hot Love, which we were like, oh, sure, play Hot Love at this. But they also played All Blues, which is off of Miles Davis' Kind of Blue, which is really amazing. And then for some reason or another, I couldn't think of what song it was.
No, but, Neil really failed me in the moment.
Yeah, I did. I kind of let you down. But that was
I'd like
super
to shout
awesome.
out, I think it was Loomis who told me what it was.
No, it was Jeff.
Oh, it was Jeff?
Yeah, it was Jeff. He was
Jeff.
like, "You don't know what that is,"
Jeff.
and like he was like angry about it. But in any case,
then I kind of deflected it onto you.
yeah,
And
that was my fault. I knew what it was. I just didn't know the name.
All right.
In any case, set one, we get Turbulence in the Night Rays. Then you would think you get a pedestrian, Earthling, or Alien. It is not.
But no.
But no. Actually, it was the highlight of the whole fucking festival, because the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen in your life happens
Dragonfly, you're right.
during this Earthling or Alien jam. It was fucking ridiculous. And so now is a good time for me to pause and tell a story about my experience at this festival.
Did you lock eyes with the sunset?
We're gonna tell
I did not lock eyes with
the
the sunset. I did make really good friends with a guy there who was driving around golf carts. Actually, I didn't. Ryan did. But later, this guy and I shared some pretty strong hugs. He was a big, strong man. Really friendly.
Ooh, tell me more.
We gave him water. He gave us some rides. So that was like on the first day.
Did you lock eyes with him?
We went back. Yeah, I think I did, actually. It was pretty magical. And so second day we went back and we said, like, what did you think of the Earthling or Alien? And he's like, nobody gave a fuck about the music. That was the best sunset I've ever seen in my life. I've grown up here and I've lived here my whole entire life, which was actually pretty amazing. So like, we liked the music because it was good, but the sunset was also probably the best sunset, well, at least the folks in Schwazy, New Hampshire, have ever seen.
Magical.
So I'm almost done with the set list. Let me keep going. So,
majestical.
Yes.
So then you get a turn clouds, obviously very important because the way the clouds were, and then you get a Jive one, and the best Jive lead they've ever played.
Yes.
So that's like really important to actually point out here.
Yes.
So that was a really long way of saying the set list. So you get a Turbulence, Earthling, Turn Clouds, Jive one, Jive Lee. That is the set.
A lot of songs.
There we go. Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, I don't know whether I don't know off the top of my head whether the Turbulence or the Earthling hit me harder vis-a-vis Sunset. Might have been the Earthling, it might have been the Turbulence, but just the whole vibe of that moment, not being able to I wanted to be looking at the band. I wanted to be looking to my left at what was happening in the sky. I was like, this is incredible. And I think I said to Megan Shout out to Megan, good friend of the pod, of course, who's with us. Also, Brian and Marinda. I think I said to her during the Earthling Jam, I said, I never got to see Trey play Divided Sky in 1994, but like this is the next best thing. Earthling or Alien in 2024.
He's getting
That's
choked
it.
up. He's getting choked up.
Yeah, I think it was the sunset. Really, I think
It was
that,
the sunset more than the music. Let's,
It was
let's
a-
do
it
it.
was
No way.
it was the seeing a band I love.
confluence. It was
Yeah.
a confluence of things.
It was seeing a band I love play a really great peaky jam while the sun
With
was
a
setting in a really spectacular way on my
dragonfly
left.
peak
With
in the
Dragonfly
Earthling.
Peak. There we go. But this Jive Lee. So unlike Fiddlers, it is doing more for more time.
Oh,
Fiddlers has
here he
that
comes.
section for 5 to 10
Here he
minutes.
comes.
That digital sauce, that late night disco jam. Yeah, that's the shit. But this, they hit the clav. They get a little darker. They get a little dirtier. And it's a little bit more exploratory for its length. Jive Goose will disagree because he was in Colorado. And he probably hasn't even heard the Northlands Jive Lee. I don't really believe that he's listened to it. But that's okay. He likes Colorado. But yeah, I agree with Neil here. This is the GOAT Jive Lee. Absolutely. After listening to, for the record, we did an ABC of this, Fiddlers, and 6822 during our drive from Portland to Philly. And we agreed that this is very clearly the best one of the three. I yield my time.
That's a cute story. I think so here's the thing. I'm not out here to attack like another version that I didn't go to or whatever. These are both really good Jive Lees. I think.
Hey B, you weren't in that car, okay? You weren't driving with them, listening. Did you not get that moment?
No, I questioned their moments together. I think on the positive side, which is where I like to keep it, is that these are two amazing Jive Lees in a short period of time, two huge jams. And I think what's interesting about this one is that before they do the proper Jive Lee finish, they actually go back into the main Jive Lee, lick or melody, what you want to call it. And that is not something that they normally do. And that's what stood out to me here. I found that very interesting. I'm not sure if it's something they've never done, or if we went way back. I feel like even some of the standout versions from like 2019, when there were very few, extended Jive Lees, I don't recall them actually kind of landing back on that main, refrain before going to the end. So I thought that was a very interesting moment in this one. And it is, and look, like I said, again, it is a great jam, but I do think that the Fiddler's version edges it out.
All right. Anything else here from you guys before we?
Just the Dragonfly, and the Lee is very good. I'm not sure. I need to go back to listen to them back and forth for a while. They're both excellent.
Yeah, I'm good with this show.
All right,
Man,
Neil.
wait, hold up. I want to back up.
Whoa.
We are doing a lot of joking around about this show, but
Hold
I
on.
mean,
Hold
in terms
on.
of set list flow, I think this first set has pretty incredible set list flow. I think,
Yeah.
Like if you look at the individual songs, you might take a step back and say, maybe not the best set. But if you think about in terms of minutes of jam, the minutes of jam are in the right places in this set. And then I think about the set 2, which I'm about to talk about, and the minutes of jam are in all of the right places.
Perfect.
And yeah, just about. And this is one of my favorite shows of this tour. I think if you disagree, well, fuck you. But
Jeez.
Hear that, B?
Yeah, I mean,
Take it
no,
easy.
it really is. No, I'm kidding, but
No, this show's
it
okay.
is one of the the show is pretty good. And there occasionally Goose will do a show where everything just lines up so nicely. I think about Philly Night 2, amazing show. You know what I'm talking about when I say that. I think about Caverns Night 1.
Yep.
Yeah, night one.
Night 1, where it all just kind of ties up like a boot, like it's just like amazing how it all
Like a
comes
boot.
together.
Red
This
Rocks
is really
last
good.
year.
This is one of those shows, and this second set does exactly that. It laces up nicely, and it's just set list wise. This is what we've
This is
got.
where an SOS opener set 2 works.
Yeah, and this is where it works. So you get the SOS set 2 opener. You get Thatch, which is deep and exploratory and psychedelic, and then gets tragically ripcorded, but still is a spectacular jam. You get a Wisteria Lane that is absolutely incredible. Then you get Eminence Front, Feel It Now, and then Animal. And that's it. That's your show. In set list wise, I don't know how
Good
it gets
set
much
twos.
better than that.
They keep going. Set 2s.
Yeah, I mean, when SOS opened set 2, you know, I think, Neil, we were expecting Thatch to come out of here because it hadn't been played since St.
Right.
Louis. And so I was expecting it to open set 2 again. I think that was kind of the consensus. And when they went SOS, I think we were like, oh, they're going to do SOS Thatch. And this is one of my favorite things. I love this about Goose. I love when Fish does it. It's amazing. Like where you open the set with like a high energy number that's not going out there jam wise. You're just getting the energy up. You're getting everybody into it. You're getting rolling. And then you just rock right into the jam. You rock right into the song that people have been waiting to hear. And sometimes also like we'll hear, we'll hear later in the tour and all the time, there are times they'll play something like SOS Thatch, but they'll end SOS and Rick will like tune, or, you know, he'll do like the little like scratchy intro thing. And it's not like immediately into Thatch. There is not a second wasted. He hits the last note of SOS and he's in Thatch. And that's what I was looking for. And as soon as he hit that, like we went ballistic. This is what we were looking for. I keep saying that because I was looking for it. And you dive right into the groove. You get the arpeggiator going. It's phenomenal right here. And yes, that is foreshadowing to the Animal that they're going to play later. Do I wish that this Thatch had 5 more minutes on it instead of Rick ripcording it when it started to get really, really good again? Yes. Do I listen to this Thatch all the time? Also, yes, because it's amazing.
Yeah,
you're an excellent interviewer, man.
Thank you, Kev. And then you know, Wisteria, incredible. Eminence, getting that again so soon after the cap. Yes, please keep playing this. We all lost our shit when they started playing Eminence again, like, because it's just the excitement of holy shit, we're getting another Eminence. Like, yeah, and Feel It Now, Animal, just, you know, fun, dancey. Great time. They skipped the second verse of Animal in the interest of the clock. Very interesting choice. But yeah, that's what I got on this set. Amazing stuff. Jive, you want to tell us how bad it was?
Oh man. No. And in fact, I think we recently had a conversation where we were talking about there's a lot of parody in this tour. I think we all agreed that for the year, even there's maybe 3 standout shows that are kind of a cut above the rest. And then we talked about, you know, the amount of parody around the next, you know, kind of midsection of shows. And so there's a lot of debate then around, you know, what comes at the top of that, you know, middle list. And this is one of the ones that was kind of in that conversation for me. I think that on the strength of the Jive Lee jam in the first set, which you'd have me to believe that I don't like or don't think is good, I think it's very good. I just think Fiddler's is a little bit better. That's all. But I still think this is a very good jam. So that, you know, that adds a lot of value to that first set, which otherwise I'm not a huge fan of. But yeah, set 2. I mean, up until the Animal, you know, this is a really, really nice set on paper and in execution. And so, yeah, great cover choice. You know, you got the SOS Thatch, Wisteria. You know, this is a good set. But I think it just falls a little bit short with the Animal non-core and maybe just a little bit of lack of much else for me in the first set other than Jive Lee. But good set. And shows in Swayze, I know are always special. I've never been there, but I know these are always special shows. You know what I mean? If the sun goes down just right, then everybody, it's best sunset ever. So It's a beautiful part of the country, and it
Sunset
touches
of the
people.
year.
Yeah, it touches people in the heart.
I mean, like, yeah, even people from Swayze, they love the sunsets there. I mean,
Swayze.
you know,
Northeast, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Swayze. Yeah, kid.
Let's go down to
Yeah,
Canandaigua, Jeff.
I'm sorry, what was that, D? How do you pronounce that?
Canandaigua.
Oh, I appreciate
Canandaigua.
that.
It's
So-
Canandaigua. Come on.
And that's
Yeah,
where I was
that's
going to go with that.
great city.
Is a great city, and geographically speaking, we're continuing a tour of great cities, as Jive said earlier, from Omaha, Greenwood Village, onto Canandaigua, New York.
Canandaigua.
That's what I
yeah,
said.
let him be.
Yeah, let Kev cook.
Let
Let him
Kev cook.
cook.
And so, right off the top, what I'd like to do is I'd like to give a shout out to Ethan Cohen, who did the poster art for this particular show that I think was probably one of the best pieces of poster art. I'm sure people have other opinions. 4-color screen print that was done. Very simple, minimalistic design. Loved it. But anyway, June 15th, 2024, New York. We start this first set out with Hot Love and the Lazy Poet. So that's
Sick
been
opener.
happening. Yeah, man.
Literally
I love
every
it.
show. The whole
I
tour.
love it. I love it. They love playing it. Mr. Action,
Love.
always a solid nod to the crew and everything that they do for the band and for the fans and everything else. Me and my uncle, John Phillips, Mamas and Papas, Pen Tune, Seekers on the Ridge, Part 1, where Ryan Storm went to the bathroom. Obviously you're going to get Seekers Part 2 if they give you Part 1. Drive into another So Ready.
Quick gap there. Yeah, just solid set. Good drive. Neil and I hopped onto the stream during drive. We were having a good time that night
Yeah.
on day 2 in Northlands.
You were at the Disco
Day 3.
Biscuits?
No.
Back
we
in the
were-
dorm.
Not yet.
Yeah, I can't really recall.
We got back to the dorm during set 2.
It was a busy day. There were things happening at the festival. I think one of the things that was happening was that there was a promo for Sun Cruiser, sponsor of the pod, Sun Cruiser vodka
Oh.
iced teas. Those
So
things are
good.
fucking
Oh my
delicious. Let me tell you.
Everything changed for Neil around 5:45 p.m. when he found his way to one of those.
Yeah.
What
found some
was
of
that
those.
again for the people that didn't hear? What was that product again?
Oh, Sun Cruiser vodka iced tea.
Perfectly crushable.
Would you like shotgun one of those, or are they shotgunnable?
Yeah,
Pretty
kind
much.
of. It wasn't really a shotgun. I just drank it really fast.
You
They
could
gotta,
shotgun, but you just can't cut your thumb.
Well, yeah, no, that was later in the night.
Yeah.
That was a different thing. But like, yeah, no, it was a good time. It's a good time.
Anyway, solid first set here. Nothing crazy to write home about. Drive, very, very good. But I think that the theme of this show is really, really good set list, really, really solid playing. Nothing making the playlist.
Do you want me to do set 2?
Set 2 is sick, though.
Well, isn't this
Well, as I said, really amazing set listing.
Oh,
really
okay.
what's the
solid
deal with this
playing.
tumble though?
Well,
Is-
Kev, what did they play
Yeah.
in set 2?
I was just going to say, should I go into set 2?
Yes, please.
Fat Freddy's Drop, man. Fish in the Sea. Everybody's favorite Goose cover. At least one of my
Canandaigua.
favorites. Got to be in my top 3. Canandaigua. Tumble, right? Tumble?
Yes.
And then we're straight
Yeah.
burden. And then we're straight burden. And then 726 into a nice Arcadia. And then another Matavan.
Sick set
There it
list.
is. Fish
Fish in
in
the
the tumble.
Canandaigua.
Fish in the tumblebird.
Yeah. So this is what I was talking about. Is like when Goose plays big venues, they play big set lists, and this is a good example of that. This might be the best.
Well, but it was a big venue in set 1 also. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I don't think they actually swung and missed on that
Canandaigua.
first set.
I don't think so either. I don't think so either.
It was also the formula they've been using. So, an opening song set quarter 1.
They played a bunch of songs that people like to hear. There wasn't like super heavy jamming on that first set. Again, like playing these larger venues, you're not just playing for the jam nerds like we are. You got to play the songs that people want to hear, and sometimes they want to hear more than 4 or 5.
No,
of them,
that's
you know?
okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. I don't know that I would. I think if we're breaking down the set list. That's not a big set one for me. Although I will say, me and my uncle was overdue. So, but yeah, this tumble is really good. This is the really, really good tumble.
A lot of
This is
people are saying
the-
that.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
this is where I get kind of sketch on that. I don't, which is really funny. We've joked about tumble in the past, you and I, Jive. And this tumble doesn't really excite me. And I don't know. Maybe it's because like I think tumbles now have a formula. The formula
Does it
that
dictate?
God damn it, Ryan. I'm not gonna even dignify that. They're all pretty similar and they're all great. I don't know. I just like have trouble jumping out of my chair and getting excited about
Yeah.
a tumble right now, except for
that's
the
the big
Billy
one.
tumble. That's the
Yeah,
one
yeah,
that really
yeah.
gets
No,
Hey.
no.
All we can take away from this is that the formula dictates.
This is where we start to get into the Legend Valley Creatures phenomenon, where and right now it's almost like the 2024 tumble phenomenon, where it's every one of these tumbles has a 4 or 5 minutes that's really, really good, but then 20
Yep.
plus minutes of kind of average tumble. And so, again, bear in mind that this is a great song to see live, and this is a really good tumble. But in a year of all these tumbles, this one is a little formulaic in terms
Yep.
of kind of
Agreed.
ultimately what it delivers relative to the other versions that they play. And yeah, you're right. We're going to get to the one that does stand clearly head and shoulders above the rest later. But yeah, this one ends up kind of just doing the tumble thing. And I kind of feel like maybe it's the same for this Redbird too. It just kind of does the Redbird thing. And that's how you kind of move through this show a little bit. So,
well, this is one of those shows with an incredible set list on paper and really solid playing, as I said before, but nothing that really I need to go back to after the fact. Like I don't know if there's anything in this show that I've listened to more than once or twice.
But still one of the better shows of the tour.
Sure. Just in terms of its consistency. Because one of the things we talk about all the time is like Goose will play like a really amazing first set and then a pretty okay second set, or a really okay first set and then the best second set you've ever heard in your entire life. And so when they play a show like this, that's like more down the middle across both sets, the consistency will elevate it in terms of song selection and playing, whether it has jam of the year candidates or not. It'll end up ranking pretty high because of the consistency factor. So that's something interesting that I like to kind of think about in, what one of the things that I hope that they can, kind of step up this fall in terms of set listing is, can they get, to that level of consistency where we're getting these amazing set lists and also that strong improv.
2-set band.
So that's it.
And that's it. And by that's it, you mean it's time to open up everybody's favorite thing.
Is it sack time?
It's sack time, Kev.
This is
sack
part
up.
one sack.
I want to start off here and say B Will 44, who was a guest on a day after show during the tour. How would you compare the jamming from the first half of 2023 to the first half of 2024? And I think the biggest difference, we've been talking about it, it's Cotter, right? The jamming in the first half of 2024 is dynamic. It's going in new places. It's more fluid. We talk about that circular thing, those snare rolls, Cotter leading, and that telepathy with Rick in times, that moment in the Fiddler's Motivon where Rick turns around to cue Cotter to start speeding up, and Cotter's already speeding up. There's no communication needed. And one of the things actually that was interesting earlier today, and by earlier today, I mean earlier this morning before my power went out, I was watching the video from the Bonner Thatch from last year. Just 'cause it showed up on YouTube, and I was like,
wait, I've never heard you say Bonner Thatch.
I started saying it a while ago. Yeah.
Congrats on
Yeah.
growing up, Ryan.
But one of the things to me was watching how Rick, at least he felt like he had to be a little bit more forceful with cueing things for Ben. He wanted the return to Thatch at the end, especially. It was like he wanted it to go back into Thatch, and Ben was sticking with a double time. and Rick kind of like turned around and was like, you got to do this. And with Cotter, it feels like Cotter is more anticipatory. Is that a word?
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
I'll trust you because you're a teacher.
Yeah.
Cotter is anticipating what Rick wants to do. And I think that's the biggest thing in terms of jamming in this first half of the year. It's that there's more interplay, there's more communication, and there's more
Vibing.
like, let's hang back and let them lead. And I'm going to step up when it makes sense. And I think that's the biggest takeaway from the first half of the year so far. Does anyone have other thoughts on this? Because it's a really good question, I think.
Well, I just real quick what I want to say, because I normally don't, have a lot of opinions on this sort of stuff, but what I would like to say is that, like, with Cotter there, it seems like Rick is very much more confident in stepping out front and doing whatever the fuck he wants, which, for whatever reason, he didn't have that sort of vibe that he was able to do that, before. So I think that portends well for what's coming, what is to come for the future of the band.
Anyone else on this question?
No, I agree. I think the band as a whole, and that's okay to say, despite we can all be sad for relationships that are lost, whether it's for the band or personal for people that were involved in the communities, that I think overall, versus what we saw in the latter half of 2023, I can be honest at this point, a year later, and say I think the band itself sounds more confident and just happier and sort of more engaged as sort of musicians, and that's okay. And that does happen, as we've seen with some other bands in this scene, is just, sometimes change is needed, and for everybody involved, it might have been the best thing. And it's nice to see, I think, Neil, you sort of said it right away, as we started talking. It's just like the confidence of the band and sort of the way that they're sounding together, and sort of this, as we've talked about over these 10 shows here, is that, they were growing in confidence, even if a show wasn't maybe something that sort of popped out. It's just that Ryan said it right away, is that there wasn't a bad show like the CMAC show. You have shows that don't need to have bracket worthy jams, but as a total, that show might show up in the top 10 to 15 of the year, which is like a good show. It's a very solid show with CMAC and Canandaigua, as it was. I got a sack worthy comment too, though.
Well, B, you got something here before we move on?
No, I was just going to move on to another sack comment myself. I wanted to read the one from our good friend, highly decorated Uncle Fred's Jive. Highly decorated.
Highly decorated.
A genius in the game. He says an immense amount of stellar covers this tour. What was your favorite, and what didn't they play that you missed the most? So I think the first part we already talked about a little bit. I think the best cover jam for me was the Mississippi Half Step. I think Hollywood Nights is still like kind of the best cover that they play right now. But then the second part of the question, which is, what didn't they play and that you missed the most? Well, I think it's What's Up, and I can only guess that that's probably coming at one of these big fall runs. You know what I mean?
Switching.
I mean, switching's good, but I mean, we're talking about What's Up. You know what I mean?
What's Up.
It's just another level. They don't play switching like at the end of set 2 for a reason. You know what I mean? They don't do a positivity rap in switching either. And ask yourself why. You know what I mean? Because it's
well, because it's an instrumental, so they fucked from the get-go.
You can still do it. You know what I mean? It's outside of the lyrics of the song, but yeah. So that's my answer to that question. Thank you, Uncle Fred's Jive, for
type 2
being involved.
Hey, B, real quick, if I could follow up on that, because I put in the comments there, I was actually going to pull that question and throw it over to you. Where do you think, because you talk about covers a lot with Goose, like, and also the sense that they've like played a lot of the covers on this past tour that they've previously played. Where do you think they should go in terms of cover songs?
That's a thoughtful question, Kevin. I think
Thank you.
yeah, I mean, look, the covers is always an interesting topic because I think covers just ultimately come down to kind of people's own opinions about things, and that's tough because from the band's perspective, covers come from a real personal place of their influences and shared influences in many cases, and all these things, right? So it's I at the end of the day, they've got to go where they're going to go to kind of pay homage to what made them who they are as musicians. Now, I will tell you, and you've heard me, I've told Peter, I was like, man, there's some His Golden Messenger that I think, like Amir Loves a Hammer, that was the big one for me. I was like, man, I think Goose would just absolutely crush that cover. I think it would. They obviously, they obviously have a relationship with His Golden Messenger from playing at Fred Fest. They're fans of his. There's mutual respect there, I feel like. So I think to me, that's the kind of like new direction you could potentially go in. But
do you think that would be a better fit for Ray Below
that
or
particular song
Goose?
would be way more of a fit for Goose because it's a powerful song and I was telling Peter, it was just incredible organ play and just the way the song is constructed. It would, I think, highlight him in a way, even more so, which I was trying to use that as a selling point. But I'm a huge His Golden Messenger fan. I love that song. But yeah, I think again, I think going back to what we said before earlier in the year with Cotter coming in, I would love to see maybe some more of Cotter's, cover, influences come in, his influences.
What are his
anyway,
what are his
we'll
influences?
see. I think they're clearly kind of going down that road of the traditional Goose covers so far.
All right, I got a good one here. Good friend of the pod, Captain Incredible Jeff, hits us with a choose your fighter. Rosewood Heart, Cap versus the Everwise Amphitheater in Indianapolis. And he
No
states,
question.
yeah, but I agree, it is the Cap, but he states, but also, both 2024 versions to date are strong in their own right and enjoyable show highlights, even if not quite bracket jams. Band is locked in. Cotter sounds great. Agreed. All that said, do you think we'll see a truly elite Rosewood manifest before 2024 is through? And we did have a great engaged conversation with another friend of the pod, Matt for Math. Shout out Arrow. We see you. But him and Jeff had a good conversation back and forth. And, I think Jeff makes a good point. A lot of his chart themselves, Rosewood. It's a song that's sort of dwindled in frequency, one would say, and then also maybe quality. And it's a bummer because I really like the song. I think it's always really pretty. I don't know if we'll see a top tier jam manifest this year. I think that it might take something to kind of make the song what it is. I just hope it has like a Western Sun moment, kind of like the Perry one did, like just another version that sort of like peaks out in a way that stands out. 25 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever it is that just sets itself apart. But I would just like to hear one this fall is all I'll go with. So I'll keep it positive there.
I mean, listen, I thought maybe he was joking at first because I think Cap Rosewood is like in a whole nother world than Indy or wherever the other one was from. And I personally think that Cap Rosewood is a contender. If somebody said to me Cap Rosewood is my jam of the year, I mean, I don't agree with that, but I don't think that would be a completely outlandish opinion. It's a top 10 jam for me. It's number 9 for me. I really think this is a great jam. Ryan doesn't.
Dude,
Ryan,
what are you
thinks that
doing?
this is completely wrong.
Also, Neil. Look at Neil
If you're gonna talk to me about Cap into the and then in the same breath say that Cap Rosewood is like that you have to be smoking crack to enjoy. Cap Rosewood.
Nobody said crack.
That was a
Cap
marijuana
Rosewood
reference.
is a really, really good jam.
Have you ever done that?
Cannabis.
It is not a top
I
10
think
jam
it's-
of the year. I'm sorry, B. Wow.
It's a great top 10 vibes
No,
jam.
that's not his point. His point is that like if that's your top 10 jam of the year, he's not going to hate on you for it. And like,
But
I
he
don't
has it in his
disagree.
top 10.
And that's
Doesn't.
fine.
I
He
haven't
won't
seen his
long
list.
term.
Why does anybody care?
Hashtag release
Exactly my point. Which is like we get too focused on these things about like what's the right jam of the year playlist and what isn't, and like who's to blame for that? Probably Jive Goose. He's the one who started this shit.
Enjoy what's happening
Exactly.
in your ears.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Point is, it's okay if Chateau Jam is
Or-
on your
or
playlist,
Chateau-
and that's
or
number
Chateau
one.
Redbird.
Or Dawn is a song. Like
Or
these are
fucking
all-
Chateau Born, like nobody's gonna be mad at you.
Yeah.
these are all acceptable things now.
Yeah.
Ryan Storm's having a panic attack. But
No,
like
no,
the
no.
point I'm trying to
Did
make,
you just say Chateau Redbird?
Isn't that a thing? Born.
No,
Chateau
it
Born.
is not.
yeah.
So to bring this back to my vasectomy, are we ready to tie up this sack?
Yeah.
Yes. Please,
Yeah,
let's go to bed.
I think this episode has definitely gone on long enough. Thank you everybody so much for listening to us ramble a lot about the first half of tour. We will be back soon enough talking about Cleveland through Westville. That one will definitely be longer.
And we
than
will
this
do
episode.
we'll do the fancy goose. Anybody who tuned in specifically for the fancy goose recap,
They're probably not
Come.
listening by now.
Yeah.
it's coming on the next episode.
I'm not listening.
It will happen. It will happen. It will happen. But thank you, everybody, so much for listening to this episode of Always Almost There. We'll be back for part 2 pretty soon, and then an amazing fall tour coming up, which I can't wait for. But have yourselves an amazing rest of your day, an amazing rest of your summer, and we will see you very, very soon.